Alright, we'll be getting started in just a minute or two as I am getting all the players and organizations in line. So, a few minutes. Alright, hello and welcome everyone to day 2 of the 2021 Fall Invitational Playoffs. I'll be your host Wackle, and we're just waiting for the players to get started with their map vetoes for our first match of the day. So today we have two very exciting series, the culmination of several weeks of tournament play, fighting over the lion's share of the $735.04 prize pool. First up, we have Ajax versus Nexus. The two losers of the semifinals will fight it out for third place, which is a prize of $100. And then after that series concludes, we will move on to the Tagada versus SB series, which will be a best of 7. Of course, all these players have had a very long road here. Some of them have suffered more than others. Interestingly, both Tagada and SB were the first and second place qualifiers from Group A in the group stage, and they have now finally met to rematch in the finals. Meanwhile, the bronze match, if I recall correctly, is both the top two players from Group B. So only 2 of the 4 groups are actually represented in the finals, which tells you something about how difficult those groups were to get out of, just due to the strength of the players. Alright. So Nexus has taken the first veto and just immediately vetoed hard FFA. Which is, you know, perhaps reasonable. Ajax has a great record on hard FFA. He picks it first if he possibly can, but otherwise it's a difficult struggle for anyone who goes up against him on that. We saw the game yesterday, SB versus Ajax on hard FFA, and Ajax made SB look like he didn't know what he was doing. And honestly, who does know what they're doing on that map? It's actually certifiably insane. Alright, second veto. Ajax has vetoed the ditch. Which, you know, if you're versus Nexus and you're Ajax, that's a pretty reasonable veto. You probably don't want to get into a macro fest versus Nexus. Like, it's generally not advisable for your health or well-being. So the question is, where does he go from here? I mean, Nexus traditionally likes to veto a lot of the 5-kilometer maps, which hard FFA is technically a 5-kilometer map if you were to measure its sides, but it's so strange I don't even put it in the 5-kilometer category anymore. It's often its own category. Ajax saying this upcoming match is lame in Aeolus. You know, if you're Ajax, I don't know if you're terribly happy about having to fight Nexus in the bronze match. Like, these players are very closely matched. Like, they fought a best of 3 in the group stage, which Ajax did win 2-0, but it was a game that should have been a draw on Twin Rivers. Like, it really should have been a draw, if not for that weird UI mod that Nexus had that caused his units to be gifted to civs on his death, very briefly. And the second one was just a Williamson's Bridge game, which Ajax won handily, but, you know, it's a Williamson's Bridge game. It's a small map. Anything can happen. It doesn't really tell you much. Alright, Nexus has gone ahead and vetoed Open Palms. Open Palms is an interesting map. Alright, Farmers will be joining us in about 5 minutes. It should be in time for the first game. So you veto hard FFA because you are playing Ajax, and You're contractually obligated to if you don't want to lose your first game for free. And then you veto palms because you're not ready for the sort of combo spam slight macro fest that Ajax has actually shown that he's very good at. Like maps that don't firmly fall into like the macro category, stuff where you can do, tricky maneuvering stuff. I think Ajax has shown he's quite good at that. And then Ajax, for his second veto, will go ahead and... Is this his second or third veto? Well, he vetoes DeRosa's. So, continuing on his path of vetoing the macro maps, he doesn't want to fight Nexus in a world where there's 100,000 reclaim. And to that, Nexus will respond by vetoing Stickleback Ridge. So, just going ahead and getting rid of the 1 5-kilometer map that you can prep that isn't certifiably insane. Like, your other options for 5x5 are literally map gen, Crazy Rush, and Hard FFA. None of those are normal human maps. Well, I mean, map gen will give you something. 5x5 map gen will give you something. Probably. It's dangerous to pick 5x5 map gen because it's hard for it to generate decent maps. 7x7 is a bit safer. Like, you can get something normal and human there most of the time. And then at the larger sizes, map gen does very well. But I have not seen anyone pick 5x5 map gen so far. So that leaves Ajax with one remaining veto, and then he gets the first pick in this best of 5 series. Perhaps Ajax trying to figure out, alright, what's the best map here that Nexus is good on, and what can I do versus it? Oh, hello, Farms. Welcome.
I know what happens. Daylight saving times went in yesterday, so...
oh, no.
It's an hour difference. I was like, I saw your message, and then I was like, oh, it's in 1.5 hours, and then I went to take a shower. and I still have to go to the supermarket, so...
Oh, no.
I will abandon you in a few hours. For 15 to 20 minutes, because I need some food.
You need food?
Yeah. Whoa. Surprising, isn't it?
I'm shocked. I thought you were some sort of autonomous casting robot.
I say food, but I ran out of coal line chips, so...
yes. I mean, what other food is there?
Yeah. That's a hard one.
So they've just gone ahead and completed their map vetoes.
Okay.
So in the end, Ajax vetoed Ditch, DeRosa's, and Roanoke.
Versus Nexus.
Versus Nexus.
DeRosa's and Roanoke. It makes sense, honestly. I would say Nexus is more confident on 20-kilometer maps.
I mean, if you're playing to win, you sort of just have to go ahead and do that versus Nexus. You really don't want to fight him on a super macro-y map if you're Ajax.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like I said yesterday, I don't really have great knowledge of how Ajax plays, but from what I sort of remember, or I also feel like he is like kind of excels on a lot of classic 10-kilometer maps and 5-kilometer maps as well, and not really exactly on the 20 kilometers.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling as well, which contributes a bit to Nexus's vetoes, Hard FFA, Palms, and Stickleback.
Oh, Open Palms he vetoed, okay.
Yeah, Open Palms. That's the normal 10x10.
Yeah.
Plus, the 1 5x5 you can actually prep on. and you just should veto hard FFA versus Ajax. He's just incredibly good at it because no one else understands it.
Open up the map pool list. I can find it. There we go. So what did Nexus veto? Stickleback Ridge, you said, Open Palms, and
Stickleback Ridge, Open Palms, and hard FFA.
Okay, hard FFA. I that's understandable, to be honest.
If you don't veto it, Ajax will first pick it versus you, and he will win.
So we have 5 map gens left. Crazy Rush. What else? Twin Rivers, the Rosas, Arcane. And it is a best of 5.
A best of 5 for third place. And Ajax picks 5x5 map gen.
Yes.
This is actually the first time I think we've seen 5x5 map gen.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of map gen at all.
Maybe Ajax will change it around, and this will just be the all map gen series. We're just gonna go smallest to biggest, all the map gens.
That would be nice to see.
It's actually a map gen tournament, guys. Someone call Blow Deer.
I probably have to. Do I have to update my clients before I can join the 7.5 kilometer map gen?
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I think so as well. Let me do that right now. Yeah, I kind of agree with what Thomas said, that Ajax on hard FFA is, like, he's good on it, but the reason he wins is not because he's good, but because everyone else just plays it bad.
No one else understands it. Like...
Yeah, that exactly, that's my argument.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. You're absolutely correct. Promise you're a very intelligent casting robot.
Yes.
So the game is hosted. I don't know if you can join it or not.
I am updating the client at the moment, which should be very quick, unless it adds some fancy bugs.
Alright, so we have an interesting map here. NapGen has decided to generate the mountain in the middle on a 5x5 style. So the middle is just completely impassable. There are some mexes that are spread outside the base, but nothing that's super contestable, except maybe these corner mexes and the bottom and top positions.
I'm about to join.
Turn is falling victim to the classic assuming Nexus is the higher seed because he's Nexus. But no, actually Ajax is the higher seed because Ajax came in first in his group and Nexus didn't.
Ooh, oh, what's that in the middle?
It's a giant mountain of doom. And
do they have retries for a map gen role, or like how does it work?
No, they just go on the first one unless they complain loudly enough, in which case they might convince me to re-roll. But this is probably fine.
Yeah, I'd say that the mid, it seems to be that you can walk units through it somehow, but like part of the terrain will be possible and part of it will be impossible. Yeah.
It'll be hard. It's hard to tell from this view.
It is, but you can see some of the terrain, which definitely I've played enough map gens to see that it would assume it's possible. Zagara is asking for full screen, and if I start your stream, then it's indeed not full screen.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the lobby. It doesn't go full screen, and
Yeah,
I don't
but
have a
look
viewer
on.
set up specifically to capture the inside of this window. He'll have to deal. Very sad.
But I didn't see that yesterday. You're just. It seems like you're just recording your display.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I typically do. It's less
Oh,
buggy that
okay.
way. I just
Oh, that's
normally
kind of
have
true.
uh, like you can't tell it's not a window display when the full screen application is going. But to show the lobby, I gotta
I see.
just do the display capture because I have weird issues where the lobby will sometimes just be like a blank white screen.
Yeah, it can sometimes be pretty buggy. Okay, first match. It's the bronze match, so fighting for third place here. The bottom left, we have Ajax coming from Finland. Picking UEF first map. I assume they both banned Aeon.
No.
Sarah.
One of them banned Aeon, the other one banned Sarah, which was
Okay.
the opponent's first pick. But they both second picked UEF.
Okay. And in the top right, we have Nexus coming from Land of the Burgers, the USA.
Proud
Uh,
Burger Zone inhabitant.
yes, I'm curious how they will play this. It's a 5 kilometer map, but it's a very weird map. They both should be fine on 5 kilometers. There's some people like me that's stuck on it. Some others don't like it too much either. But Nexus and Ajax should be completely fine with it. Uh,
I'm trying to make
uh,
heads or tails of this middle mountain ravine thing. Like I think it's passable in a few spots.
it is 100%. That's what I like.
Like
I saw it from the preview. You can actually get into it from 6 to 8 different angles. There's a lot of passable ways actually. That's also the reason why maybe one of them banned Sarah, because Phobos in the middle here will be quite strong.
I was kind of hoping for a first bomber, just because there's nothing to really just do on this map other than just attack the main base.
Yeah, there's Hydro, and how many maxes is it? There's 8 maxes kinda on your side that is easily defendable, and then there's a single max in the corner that's it's kinda worth fighting over a bit. But aside from that, not really. It's probably one of the most defensible 5 kilometer maps I've seen. Because even though you can pass through mid, again, there's not a lot to contest aside from the reclaim, and there's not a lot of reclaim either. There's 1600 mass of reclaim.
That's probably the only thing that you can really fight over besides the two corner mechs that don't really matter either. So I guess you gotta try.
Yeah, there is a quick air factory and a bomber coming from Nexus. Meanwhile, Ajax went for a triple land factory, so you won't have an Inti to split down the bomber, but I assume he will be making a MAA soon, considering he skipped air.
I just maybe gonna get a nice pickup here, but the ACU is nearby.
Oh, the scout in mid actually scouts the bomber ahead, so that's a nice position. So he should not lose too much to the bomber.
Well, he hasn't built an AA yet.
Yes. Maybe shoot it after some of these units. There we go.
There. Wow.
Oh, wow, that's I almost couldn't see those bombs. I heard the drop, but somehow the bombs were. Oh, that one lives on 11 HP. That's quite nice. But the bomb is getting nice value. He's even bombing tanks, and I think that's the right move.
That's huge value. Like, those early tanks are basically the advantage that Ajax has for not
Yeah,
going
exactly.
air. Now they're dead.
Earlier is already worth it. He's making it a third bomber now. The second is already finished because he saw there's no air from Ajax,
Yeah,
and he's now killing an engineers.
keep
Nice
building
burst at the
bombers.
top left.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't build too many of them because at some point MAA will start to efficiently clean up the bombers. I think 3 or 4 is the maximum at the start. Like later on, you can every so now and then you can build a bomber, but usually what you try to do is after the first few bombers and you still see your opponent not having air, you just make scouts and engineers from your air factory generally. But Ajax is moving to the bottom left, bottom right, killing a few tanks, and he will grab the Max as well, because there's nothing to stop it. But Nexus is doing the same to the top left, and he's actually making a lot more progress. Because they went in different directions, it can actually sort of end up in a base trade, funnily enough.
Well, I think the big difference here is,
expected.
like, Nexus wants to try to go for this base trade, but Ajax is actually quite passively positioned. He wants to stop, get this mech, go get the other mechs. And Nexus is like, alright, I'm just going to skip all that. I have an NG behind me that can go grab it. I want to kill all of Ajax's things. And I have bombers.
Yeah, and Nexus is so much faster, and Tech 1 PDs, they won't do much. There's 5 bombers, they will almost instantly kill a Tech 1 PD.
I don't think it'll finish. Like, the ACU will just be here in time.
Yeah, I think so as well. Nexus has a huge advantage because, I mean, he has some more units because of the early damage from the bombers. He still has the bombers. I mean, he kinda is even on units, but he has the bombers. But his SU is just so much faster, and that's gonna be a world of difference.
Here come the bombers.
There's only 1 MAA in there.
Oh, there's 2. One of them has
Is
a
there?
vet.
Oh yeah, there's 2, yeah. This is what I was saying with, if you micro an army versus bombers, which is way easier than micro engineers, and you see those bombers, they killed like 2 tanks, and he lost 3 bombers so far. He's about to lose a 4th.
Yeah, I think this bomber attack was premature. But he's going to have to defend his own base trade from Ajax.
Yeah, but he got the PD up, and Ajax loses all his tanks to the PD. The PD already got 7 kills.
Yeah, and the ACU is far away. Like, it's not fighting with the tanks.
This should be over. Yes, the bombers can kill Ajax here.
He has no AA, and no air, and literally almost no power. Like, the Hydro is dead. And now the PD is just shooting the ACU.
And Nexus will clean up Ajax's base. Yeah.
Oh, he's just gonna rebuild the walls after Ajax reclaims them. Now he's shooting the wall.
Ajax now is lost. That was a quick first game. I'm not really sure how that happens because I mean, I guess Ajax just was a lot more passive with his ACU.
Yeah.
If they both went to the same side with the ACUs, this also wouldn't have happened at all.
I think you're absolutely correct, but there's serious drawing chances if that happens, so it's perhaps good that we avoided that. But yeah, I think the early air just was good. It forced a lot of MAA, it killed a lot of stuff, and then Nexus had the better idea with his ACU, which is just forget the mexes, go straight for the base.
Yeah, it's true that he just didn't bother to get that one single mex on the way to the base that Ajax did, and even without that he would have been faster too, and that bought Nexus enough time to finish this PD, and Ajax didn't get to finish that PD, and that PD is pretty big. Like in this case, Ajax's PD could have been easily sniped by the bombers, but generally a single PD can delay a base trade like this by a long time.
But now it'll get to be Ajax's pick. Or no, Nexus's pick. That was Ajax's pick.
It was Ajax's pick, okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I see Ajax is C2. Okay, so that's 5 kilometers map gen gone. Let's see if we'll get another map gen.
I mean, maybe Nexus feels he's confident on map gen now after that game. Like, It just went really well. He had the better idea.
Well, I wouldn't really say that it was map gen related, that game. Like, sure, he had the better idea, but you can't decide from that single game that Nexus is more confident on map gen all of a sudden.
I mean, like, half of map gen is just having the right idea, like being able to improvise the strategy.
Yeah, but sometimes you make a wrong decision. Yeah, that's right. Nexus handled that one better, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a consistent advantage that he has in map gen. A one-off game is not enough in data to make such conclusions.
Well, I don't think Nexus and Ajax have many games versus each other ever, so any data point is probably useful.
Well, you can't just say, for example, if you have like two people they never played, they played one game, well, that one data point is all we have, so it's more useful than nothing. You can't just use that one game then.
I'm sorry, Baze was right.
Okay, so we get to Bermuda. No 5 matching games. Feel sad, man. We've seen Nexus play a few Bermuda games before. I don't remember versus whom, but...
Alright, 1 sec, I'll be right back.
Okay. Actually, I will look in the replays. Nexus played Bermuda versus Targada and versus Mr. Rising Star, aka Turin, who renamed. And okay, Nexus won the one versus Turin, but lost the one versus Targada. Although that doesn't necessarily mean about his quality on Bermuda. He did play it 2 times. Let's see if Ajax has played it in this tourney so far. It doesn't seem like he has. No. But, I mean, it's an old map, so Ajax must have played it a lot of times. But just having played it once or twice recently can help you out a bit.
I have returned, and it looks like the players have submitted their faction vetoes. They're both vetoing Seraphim.
Okay.
And we'll both end up playing Cybern.
Okay, no big surprises there.
Although there is a bit of a difference. Nexus picked Seraphim, then Cybern. But Ajax actually picked Cybern, then UEF. He didn't even want Sarah.
UEF?
UEF. Like,
okay, that's... yeah. It wouldn't be my favorite faction here, but...
I mean... I guess you're just trying to do Janus. That's the one thing you've got.
I mean, the thing is, what is kind of true, UEF destroyers are famously depicted as the worst destroyer, but on a small map like this, like well, the middle water is small like this. If you micro UEF destroyers nicely, they can become very strong. Like they have the highest gun DPS of any destroyer.
This is true, but at great cost.
Oh yeah, at great cost. The issue is eventually, like they have higher gun DPS than Aeon destroyers. It's just that once an Aeon destroyer comes just a bit too close, its torps will give it more DPS. The issue is you have to get close to get the shots in because you have a UEF destroyer. But I
don't want to get close. There's frigates. I'm scared.
That's true. But I mean, UEF, I still think it's probably the worst faction on this map. But when I say the worst, it's not like it's not possible to play it. It's still fine. You still have your options available. It's just for the map specifically. I feel like the other factions have some better advantage.
Yeah, I don't know why you would think UEF is the second best faction here.
I said the second best.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
if
you
you're
mean
picking it
Ajax?
second,
Yeah,
then do you think it's the
yeah.
second best, at least versus Nexus?
No, not necessarily. You might also just find it more comfortable to play. It is
Alright, I
like
guess you might think your practical skill at the faction is different than the theoretical
oh yeah,
quality of it.
that really matters. It's like when Cybern was picked everywhere and played in all tourneys because before it was nerfed over and over again. Uh, like I would never pick Cybern because I always played UEF and Sarah and I felt more comfortable playing it. Like I'm not gonna play Cybern all of a sudden in the tourney and then you know the usual tools are all different. It's then I probably would perform worse with Cybern. So it doesn't necessarily impact like that.
Yeah. Although these days, with faction veto being a thing, players are forced to be a bit more versatile. You can't just sit on one or two factions forever.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing about this game is that you're like if you have a certain level of skill, you can play all factions. It's just that there's a slight difference in performance, and like I said, how comfortable you are with it, depending on how much you played with it.
And that definitely matters a lot. Although sometimes you can build up a reputation and then people will preemptively veto a faction that isn't even good on the map.
Yeah, which is quite funny.
Like,
Okay, so we see Ajax going for a quick lapse, and he's sending it to the left, and he's also making a second mole to. Actually, he sends a lap to both sides. Okay, so he's gonna be aggressive on this one. That's attempt at least. But the laps are pretty late, and Nexus's transport is already about to be done.
yeah, he's going to need some sort of bomber and inti to complement these labs if they want to actually try to deny one of the sides. Because Nexus is going to run up against this more macro-focused build from Ajax. Like, he's delaying his transport a lot in exchange for getting out labs and getting a lot more power.
Yes, he's really going for a big macro build here. It's kind of the same idea as what Turin did, I'm imagining. I hope that unlike Turin, he is not going to be stalling it in the first 3 minutes hard, because he didn't manually reclaim the big rocks. But from what I've seen, Ajax did reclaim all the big rocks left of his base, which Turin all skipped. And he is also expanding a lot quicker than Turin did, so it's already looking a bit better.
Yeah, this is just a more human build.
Curiously enough, Ajax isn't making a bomber, which kind of surprises me a bit. Because, like, he's sending his intis out to Nexus's base. I guess he kind of wants to try and airlock Nexus or force an AA, but the drops on the left are already done. I don't really understand the big idea behind these labs.
I think Ajax sort of just got the timing wrong. Like, he thought Nexus would be a bit later, so he sends the intis to intercept the transport, but it already, like, dropped everything and it's on its way back now.
But it's minute 4.
Yeah.
The Nexus wasn't even that fast on the transports. Like, he wasn't slow either, but it was just a normal timing. And Bermuda, everybody played it quite a lot. It's been in so many pools, everybody knows how to play it, so there's no way that he didn't know. Like,
well, maybe he thought Nexus would do a macro-focused build like he did and get the transport out right about now, like it's going to drop at 4:30.
yeah, but barely anyone does that.
It's uncommon. Lab kills a single Engie and then gets reclaimed.
Yeah, that lab was not meant to be. And the lab on the right is, I mean, it's if Nexus would do an aggressive drop, it would be good, but Nexus isn't really the kind of player that would do that often. Like, sometimes he would, sure, but on average, Nexus would not do an aggressive play like that.
So Nexus is just going to get his side faster. That's the big deal here. But Ajax is going to have a power lead going into the mid game here, which he could try to convert into an air win.
Yes, Ajax is finally moving left with his SU. He will Okay, I thought he was gonna arrive too late to deal with the quick Mantis that's coming from Nexus, but he will have a factory online, and that's the most important part.
Yeah, this is just
Um,
one Mantis, and then the rest of them are a bit far behind, so it should be fine. Annoying, but fine. Nexus actually hasn't left his own base. He's still building air and getting the
True.
T2 air
You
HQ.
know, that lab that went to the right, if only it went actually all the way to Nexus base and sniped at engineer, it would have been decent.
Yeah, it could just keep going. There's actually nothing stopping it, and then if maybe if it was good, it could kill both of these NGs that are reclaiming.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. Nexus is investing more into Navy at this point. 3 engineers making factories versus just 1 from Ajax. So Ajax needs to be a bit careful, because if you get swarmed with frigates at the start and you get denied Navy, then it's never a good thing.
Yeah, you can just lose the game to getting frigate crushed early if you're not careful. But we're seeing Ajax being much later to T2 air. Nexus is basically already done with it. He's already getting the T2
Yeah,
Pigeon.
and once the T2 Pigeon finishes, he will be quite ahead on power. Ajax is also a lot later in grabbing the Nexus because he dropped later in his expansion. Like, he isn't stalling mass, but grabbing all those Nexus later, in total, that's quite a bit of income. You can, like, replace that Nexus with the Reclaim, but if you have the Nexus anyway, then at the end of the day, once all the Reclaim is gone, you will have a lot more mass generated. And you could have used that for other purposes, instead of replacing the income of your Nexus. So yeah, he needs to be a bit careful. I'd say generally Nexus got out pretty well from the opening, because Ajax's transport was just a minute later. And he
Somehow,
didn't get anything in return.
Ajax is actually up. Well, he's slightly up on reclaim, despite
Yeah,
having the
that's...
later to the right side.
Well, it's not that surprising. I think he reclaimed way more at his main base. You can see the Nexus has a lot of mass around his spawn, while Ajax has reclaimed all of it. It's just that when all the reclaim will be gone, and you look at total mass income, Nexus will have more, because he got all his maxes so much sooner. It's a nice drop from Nexus, but Ajax should have reacted to it with the frigate's radar, but he wasn't paying attention, although he does have a PD.
Yeah, he's just dropping onto a PD. This is suicidal. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't notice there, but yeah, he kills the transport and the units. A bit of a failed raid from Nexus.
he's gonna
He will...
capture? No.
Nope.
Oh, that was close.
Yes.
Almost denied him max. Although we're
Ajax
seeing
suicides his first frigate, not the best
it's a scouting frigate.
scouting frigate.
Has radar.
And both
It's a
both
scout.
sides are rallying Mantis into the other ASU, not making a lot of progress.
Cost effective. Mm-hmm. But meanwhile, we do see basically equal investment into Navy now. They both have exactly 5 naval factories.
Yes, Nexus is up a few frigates though, but defender's advantage of course matters.
Yeah, he's up, what, 2 frigates? So,
Yeah, it's
although
just became 3.
if Ajax keeps sacking them, he'll have less.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you can't keep fighting these terrible frigate battles.
So finally Ajax finishes his first tech to Pigeon. Nexus already has his second done and is mass spamming inties. Ajax is quite strong on this map. It's you can't really afford to lose it early on, because usually losing air means either your expansions get raided by gunships very hard, or your navy will get absorbed. And both of them are not a good thing to have happen to you.
Oh, absolutely. Meanwhile, looks like Nexus might be able to make something happen here in the Navy. Probably get in here and design some engineers if he's lucky.
Yeah, this isn't really meant to crush, it's more meant to like prod at Ajax a bit, try to find a little bit of damage while not suiciding any frigates, which is overstepping maybe a little bit, but Ajax is not reacting and is trying to kill that single frigate that overstepped the boundaries a bit. But yeah, he kills a few engineers, and as long as he doesn't lose any frigates here, it's very good. So I'd say he could get out now.
Yeah,
Did
he
a bit of damage.
killed most of the engineers. Good job. Time to go home. Although
Yeah,
actually,
it's-
Ajax has 3 frigates here versus 6.
Yeah, the thing is, Nexus didn't see how many we're about to finish, and there's like in 30 seconds he will have 6 more.
That's the
But
problem.
yeah, Nexus can't really risk it. I mean he can risk it, but you know
Does
it
he want
makes.
to?
Yeah, exactly. There's tech to drops planned for Ajax. 3 tech to transports on the right side. He's
That's a lot.
also making some Wagners and sending them through the middle.
Does he want to like just completely drop his entire army on top of Nexus's base? Like that's a lot of transport capacity.
It's kind of what it feels like at the moment. But right now, Nexus is ahead quite a bit on eco. Made a lot of tech to Nexus on the left side and in his main base, of course. Well, Ajax doesn't have anywhere near that amount.
Yeah, Ajax is really falling behind on the eco, but maybe this drop of literally everything can kill a lot and even things up.
Yeah, but Nexus is about to scout it the moment they are loading up. So, and he did react with his inti, so he knows it's coming. He did look in the right direction. Nexus does have air control. Ajax has way less intis. So this first drop is just gonna get shot down.
Yeah, they're not moving in together, which is, I don't know, perhaps not ideal.
No, but this saves the next 2 drops, because now Ajax can react, if he reacts, but...
Ajax wants to airfight, or at least screen.
Yeah, but I don't see this working. The thing is, maybe he wants to try to force an airfight win by showing off his transports, but Nexus has, like that Nexus focuses the transport, and because of that, Ajax can win the airfight. But that would not only be a very weird plan, Nexus also has so many intis that it was never gonna work anyway. Nexus had like twice the intis there.
And look at all this fear PD, fear gunships. He was ready for the drop, even if it landed.
Yeah, like I imagine, like you expect some big attack, but this was kind of a flop. It went right through intel. It was scouted. I don't really understand that move by Ajax too much. The thing is, the left expansion from Nexus is completely undefended. So if Ajax would have waited and just went around the sides and tried to drop from the deck in different locations at once, there's a way higher opportunity to do some damage than just boldly dropping the main like this. And that was quite an investment, and Nexus was already ahead on eco, and now you see him having tech to navy versus no tech to navy from Ajax, and that's brutal. It's he's gonna lose navy like this, and he doesn't have the air to torp to get back into the water either.
He has less frigates, and the destroyer can just sit here out of range forever and kill everything. Or at Nexus can just go in and will crush. It's also a valid option.
Yeah.
Like Nexus just has more economy. Despite not having the really macro focus build early, getting the Nexus on the left side faster is just huge.
Yeah, you see Nexus also building cruisers now. Actually, he made a TML on the left side, which is launching the first TMLs.
Oh,
I don't think there's a lot in range of that, but there's a single tech to max at least, and he's going for a navy factory so as well, I think.
Oh, in the
Ajax
ACU?
is making...
Or is that a naval factory?
Oh, it's a navy factory. He's not gonna try to
Wow.
hit the ACU there. He's going for the upgrading no, it's not. But there is one upgrading. It's not like it will finish, but it will get TML'd as insult to injury at 70%.
Ajax is going
And
to try to
that's,
hold here. I mean, he's building torps. I mean, he has to try. Like, there's no other option.
Yeah, but I think it's that bit too late. He is trying to counter with a pretty big Ragnar raid, but the thing about Ragnars is they are annoying when raiding and sniping eco, but in a frontal assault, if you want to do real damage with them, it doesn't really work with Ragnars. They're not too strong for that.
they just don't trade effectively into T1 PD, and Nexus already has some of that, and he can just build more. So this is just a complete naval crush. There is the small production on the right side, but that's actually been turned off for the most part. And now here comes the gunships on the right side to clean up the aggressive attack from Nexus, or from Ajax.
Yeah, and that's completely shut down, and there's almost no hope left for Ajax. Ajax may try to go for an all-in sniper on Nexus ACU, but he's making some gunships himself. But he needs store bombs as well, because Nexus is in the water.
The TMLs are continuing to fly. Hey, there's more T2 mechs now. Can kill those.
Yeah. A nice presence.
Courtesy of Nexus. Yeah, now the cruisers and destroyers can just take care of more
funnily
mechs.
enough, Nexus let his cruiser and destroyer all on its own, so they could have easily been Terps if there were a few Terps. Because without the Cyber Frigate AA to support it. Yeah, now Ajax engages air at the top and he loses it again, and that's probably the end of this story.
Yeah, maybe if he won air, he could have done something here, but the Wagners get cleaned up, and there's the GG. So Nexus takes game 2?
Yeah, and that was quite a convincing victory. It's the fast, well, I say raids from Ajax, but they weren't really raids because they didn't raid anything.
They were attacks, I guess. Call them that. But, you know, are you ready for the reverse sweep?
Yes, we are, definitely.
Always be ready for the reverse sweep. But, you know, it gets to be Ajax map pick again. So he can try to find something that he can beat Nexus on.
Yeah, curious if we'll see another map gen.
Like, Ajax did 2-0 Nexus last time they fought, so he definitely can beat Nexus. Just two sort of unfortunate games for him so far.
Yes, but that 2-0, one of them was the Twin Rivers game.
Yeah, it's a very... Well, technically it's a 2-0.
Technically it's a 2-0, yes. I guess it's just Nexus' fault for using those UI mods. Costing him the game.
Yeah, I hope he has turned that off. Alright, Ajax is hosting Crazy Rush. I like it. I feel like Nexus isn't incredible at Crazy Rush, so this is a pretty reasonable pick for Ajax.
I'm sorry, but a year ago, everybody was like, well, Nexus has God BO here.
Well, like,
unbeatable.
It turns out all those BOs from, like, over a year ago were actually just terrible, and, like, the King of Crazy Rush tournament changed
who would
everything.
have thought? Wonder who said that first.
Whoa.
It was Patrick.
You ready to name names?
Yes. No, it wasn't. You have no idea how frustrated I was. But anyway, Crazy Rush. Yeah, I wouldn't say Nexus or Ajax are particularly good on the map. Like I don't think it's one of their strengths. I would actually say, if it would be a long-term Crazy Rush game, maybe Nexus has a very slight advantage, but I can see Ajax doing some aggressive BO as well. But yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Crazy Rush is a weird map.
It is a very weird map. Just having infinite mexes breaks everything. about this game.
It's hard to judge players correctly if you haven't seen too many games on the map. Like I know Nexus play. I mean, both of them played it multiple times, of course, and they've all just been good games. But when you place them versus each other, it's kind of hard to judge who would come out ahead.
Alright, it will be Seraphim versus Cybran, with Ajax with Cybran.
So they both banned UEF.
Yes.
And Ajax picked Cybran. That is the most surprising choice, honestly, because on Crazy Rush, the best two factions are, without a doubt, UEF and Sarah. There's no question about that. UEF because Januses are insanely strong on Crazy Rush, which is why UEF is probably always banned. Sarah is the second best faction because on such a close quarters map, massive forward spam is insanely efficient. You also got the best stack to shields. You also got the best stack to arties. You got insane PDs. You got good tech 2 lands, a good tech 3 lands with sniper bots, and of course you got an Awasa, which is not to be underestimated in Crazy Rush. If the game goes on long enough, and you have enough mass to build one in a little more than half a minute, you can wipe out 200 Nexus with one bomb.
Although the interesting thing is, Ajax didn't even pick UEF in his first or second pick.
He must have.
He was Cybran Seraphim, but he banned UEF. So he doesn't even want a Janus.
He must have thought, like, well, it's gonna get defeated anyway, so why would I pick it?
But that's not how it works. Like, you don't get any advantage by not first picking the thing you want the most.
True. So, openings. Nexus is going for... actually, I was too late. Did Nexus go for 2 PGen Factory?
Yeah, you want 2 PGen Factory, the classic.
Okay, so Nexus is going for the greedy opening, and Ajax has his engineer out quicker, so maybe he wins 1 PGen Factory?
No, he went Mex PGen Factory, which I think is kind of
Mex
unusual.
That's a new one. I've never seen that one before. Okay, so Ajax also went for a pretty greedy BO then. So we won't see any early aggression.
Maybe this build is fine?
I mean, both of the builds are fine when facing against each other, that's no doubt. The thing is, I'd say it is pretty common knowledge that Nexus does this greedy BO. The reason it's greedy is because you scale your economy super fast at the start, but at the cost of, because you make 2 pigeons for your factory, you kind of need your factory to build engineers only. You can't really be aggressive with it at the start, and you're also vulnerable to aggression at the start. Like a quick bomber or a quick lab or something to disrupt the BO, it can be pretty weak against it.
Alright.
Which is what we've seen over many Crazy Rush games, especially with the Crazy Rush tournament and all this. Now Ajax is doing that PGen Max and then Factory, which is a slight variation of what Nexus did, but it comes close to it, so I would say they should be about equal at the bow opening, because they're both going for a pretty greedy one.
Yeah, it looks like Ajax is slightly ahead. Like, maybe his build is slightly better. I mean, Nexus did build this very nice Celine that's just going to scout anything that comes out of Ajax's base and provide targeting for the bomber that will inevitably come and try to win the game.
Yes, Ajax also made a nice mole, and he actually microed it around the Selen to not let it get killed. Although he needs to watch out to not walk within range of the tank.
I think he's fine.
No.
He just wants to know what's in the base. And now he does.
But Next is literally building the bomber, which is the reason why he made that mole, to scout for the bomber to see the timing. Because the reason with this kind of BO, you see both engineers from Next and Ajax. It's insanely efficient, like build power scaling wise and power scaling, but they're all clumped up and so vulnerable to a bomber.
Nexus is going to build the AA.
Because small died, the bomber of Ajax can't lock anywhere. Also, Nexus has the better bomber here. A Sarah bomber is great in Crazy Rush because of the nice AoE and the way the engineers are clamped. Nexus actually pre-split and made an AA. So the bomber from Ajax won't even get the shot off. No, Doesn't get a single shot off, so that's a very bad start. Bomber
Meanwhile,
from
Nexus's bomber. First bomb gets away. There's no AA here.
Yeah, there's no AA, which is the big error there, because now, even though he split the engineers, the bomber over time will just kill a lot of engineers.
Already at 6 kills. It's just going to town. Alright, the AA does come up.
Oh, gets another bomber that might snack 2 more. Yes,
8
that's
kills.
8 kills. That's insane. And now there's early units from Nexus, and they were gonna snack another engineer, and there is a second bomber that will snack even more engineers. So this looks very, very bad for Ajax. Nexus actually went quite aggressive with some early units.
And there goes 2 more.
Ajax, I feel like he's gonna waste his mess. He won't be able to spend it. He has 3 factories. He is making 4 at the same time. And he isn't scaling his power anymore.
And now more NGs are dying to just random tank run-bys. Like, he's just losing all his engineers. He's got nothing. More bombers coming in.
He is trying to replace the engineers he lost to the bomber, but he needs to make tanks to not lose more engineers to other tanks.
And Ajax is just facing the wrath of bombers on repeat.
Yeah, and SU was out of position, so he couldn't defend the engineers, and this looks absolutely horrible for Ajax. He has 4 engineers at minute 5. Nexus is going super aggressive, so his scaling isn't the best, but it's not needed because it's way better than Ajax's right now.
Yeah, like, Nexus has just forced Ajax to build, like, all these half-built factories that are just getting shot at by tanks now.
Yeah, and this is kind of the thing with, like, both of them went for greedy BO. A big difference is Nexus got the Cellen in front of Ajax's base, and the mole of Ajax just died. And that's a huge difference. That might have impacted this game so much, because the Cellen from Nexus saw the bomber from Ajax, so he prepped the AA. I mean, you should expect the bomber anyway, it's very normal. But, and it provided intel for his own bomber. But Ajax didn't have that, so his bomber got 0 kills and Nexus got 8 kills, and that's a world of difference. And that's just that alone will impact the game and win the game, probably.
Yeah, now tanks from Nexus are just pouring into the back of Ajax's base. The AC is going to have to come back again. He's just going to start losing power, mexes.
Yeah, at this
everything.
point it's just too late. It's like he can hold for a bit, but in the long term, it's so insanely hard to recover. It's only a very, very, very rare occasion where you see someone come back from a position like this, but usually that would be due to a misplay from the person in the winning team, in this case Nexus. Like, there have been a few UD versus Flow games where the same type of start happened, where UD lost his first 50 engineers to bombers, let's say. But somehow he managed to almost win that game by just staying on and recovering. Although that was partially due to Zlo kind of misplaying it. But, you know, your opponent is human. It's a tough map. It's not impossible to misplay it. But it does look very grim for Ajax.
Yeah, he's quite far behind on the scaling and on the units. But if he loses this, he's just out, and that's 4th place.
Yeah, this is the last chance he has. He needs to win this map.
So he will fight on in the interest of hopefully making something happen here. Like, he has started to somewhat hold, at least for the next 30 seconds. As Ajax has to deal with the fact that Nexus is just outscaling him on the back of this.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's well, if there's a thing that's oh no, never mind. I thought Nexus was only expanding his grid with his ACU, but yeah, the max grid is way bigger for Nexus. The thing what you still need to do is keep expanding your max kit. That's the most important part, because even if you're wasting mass on Crazy Rush, you have to keep expanding your max kit, because later on you will use it.
Nexus is having a bit of power problems, so his scaling isn't actually that much better right now. Like, Ajax is catching up on the power and he's using all of it.
Yeah, like you can see that Nexus doesn't have like the most clean ways either. He just finished Tech 2 which at minute 8, which is quite late, considering like Nexus actually took no damage. Like he did a greedy BO, and it paid off. Then he rushed quite some units, which delayed him a bit, but generally the Tech 2 is still pretty late, and power scaling was also a bit slow. So Nexus did, you know, make a few, well, I wouldn't say them blunders, but misplays, small misplays. But the amount of spam that Nexus is throwing at Ajax might just overwhelm Ajax. What you need in this situation is Ajax is a quick Tech 2 factory into massive Tech 2 PD spam.
I don't even think he's getting T2 right now, though. Like, he's just trying to hold on.
I don't think so either, but the best way to hold on is with Tech 2 HQ spamming Tech 2 engineers. And you just make Tech 2 PDs everywhere, and because the map is so small, PDs are very strong.
Hedrix actually has more power than Nexus right now. Although he's
funny.
wasting so much of everything. Just because he can't build factories out of this core position without running into a million Zooies.
There's still a cell and right in Ajax's base.
That's very annoying.
Just killing there.
This is almost a situation where you tech Mexes. Like, Ajax could just tech Mexes to T2 because he's not using the resources for anything else.
I mean, if it's overflowing both power and mass, then yes, he should, but...
I mean, he is, like, a lot.
oh, that's not great. Yeah, the real issue here is that long term, he just needs Tech 2, and then here come the bombers from Nexus, and he will... 3 Sarah bombers are enough to kill a Nex, and these bombers will do insane damage. Wait. Actually, 2 bombers, if they arrive at the exact same time, will kill a Nex.
Alright, there's more. They're just going to town at this point. Huge problem.
Yeah, Sarah bombers are amazing on Crazy Rush because the nice AoE they do. And the nice damage they do as well. I think Aeon bombers only do 200, right? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, something like that.
Especially versus Cybran. You can see how brutal they are.
The good news for Adrix is he's not mass stalling yet. He couldn't use the mass anyway.
That's a good. I'm not sure if you should be happy about having fixed his mass overflow.
It's like when you go and you get your T2 P-Gen sniped, but it doesn't matter. You weren't using the power anyway. Although at some point he will need this. Like, there's not much Mex grid left.
Yeah, true. And at this point, there's still not a Tech 2 HQ, and Ajax has started spamming a few labs as well.
Look at Nexus. He's just building factories in the middle of the map, building lines of T2 PD just into Ajax's base.
Yeah, I see.
Absolutely no respect.
Yeah, Nexus also making the Tech 3 transition, just playing it safe, not like there's no reason to delay it. And Ajax will hold on for a bit longer, but this is a losing fight he's fighting.
Well, not if he just dies.
Yeah, he's just walking into the mid. It seems like he's had enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it has been over for a bit.
He tried to bring it back, and he made some good progress there, but in the end, Nexus is just a very strong player, and kept the pressure on constantly, and just completely deleted his Mex grid. So, congratulations to Nexus.
That was a sweep.
A sweep, and a very convincing sweep at that.
Yeah, quite so. I'm still surprised that Ajax picking Cybran there.
I mean, maybe he thought he would be the one to just grunt his way to victory, but it was not to be.
With what would you do that with a Cybran?
Well, obviously Mantis. Just keep sending them. It's fine. They're fast. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, the thing is, Mantis are probably the weakest units, the weakest tech ones on Crazy Rush, simply because the Mantis speed is kind of irrelevant, and it's what they have going for them.
That's all they got going for them, and if you're fighting defensively, that doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, true.
All right, so now we move on to the finals.
Yeah, so next is third place in the Fall Invitational, so congrats to him. Edrix sadly has to do it with fourth place, sadly for him that is. And finals will start soon. It's between Tagada and Pepsi, also known as Esperanto. Tagada having did he win the last Invitational or the one before that?
Yeah, Tagada
Yes,
won summer.
Okay, so Tagada won the last Invitational, so and he's again in the finals. So it's a strong performance for him. Pepsi, I don't think he played, or if he played, he didn't perform well in the last Invitational. He has played a little bit less in the last half year, but before that, he played a lot and played in a lot of high-level tournaments. And from what I've seen so far, his games, if his series versus Ajax, which he won 3-2, was quite a good performance from Pepsi actually. Usually Pepsi used to be kind of a aggressive / easy player, but nowadays, from what I've seen from his series versus Ajax, that was just a clean victory. Just clear, kind of outplayed him. Well,
Right.
not really an outplay, but he just played better.
I've invited Nexus on for a
Okay.
post third place win interview, and he said he's coming on shortly. But I mean, SB has been practicing a lot, and I feel like out of all the players in the playoffs, he wants this the most.
I think so too. Although Takada might want so too.
Tagada wants to get his laptop.
Yes.
Like, so third place is $100, which Nexus is 1, and fourth place is $55. So not shabby for, a FAF tournament prize.
Yeah, it's true.
And I mean, considering how tough the field was, fourth place is actually pretty good. Considering,
yeah, this was actually a very tough tournament.
We got people like Blackheart and Petrick that didn't make it out of groups. And there's just absolute death matches at every point.
Yeah, the round of 8 looked very, very solid. It looked like a way stronger setup than I think the summer, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah, summer was a pretty weak sauce in terms of players who could actually make it. But we compensated by having the strongest tournament ever for a seasonal invitational anyway, immediately after it.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to drag Nexus in.
Okay.
Hello, Nexus. How are you feeling about those games?
Hey, feeling good. Just glad it's over because I'm tired. Yeah, just finally starting to get some flow back.
Warming up
My
for
game-
lots?
Yeah, a couple months out, but yeah. I mean, I'll probably play a little more for lots. I did some general sandboxing, but that doesn't help with mechanics as much. Which I just played Trash versus Turin and first few games versus Tagada, but the rust falls off eventually.
The rust fell off just in time for you to 3-0 Nexus. Or, not Ajax. I know who you are.
Yeah, there was already with this weekend a quite improvement of performance compared to last weekend, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you just look at Open Palms versus Tagada, I didn't notice that I made 4 bombers first, no inties. Out of my first
Yeah, that's.
factory, and I
I
just
saw that looks quite painful indeed.
I
It's,
just lost every NG to a single bomber. So stuff like that is just, you deserve to lose if you do that.
And that was just a very
So-
close series.
Yeah.
Overall.
So
Yeah.
did you expect to trio Ajax in the bronze match, or did you expect it to be closer?
I don't know. Could have gone either way. Like, I didn't expect to get 2-0'd the other day in group stages, but usually I'm pretty confident, so like it wouldn't surprise me. It'd be more surprising to get to lose than to 3-0 him. So
Okay, it's pretty confident,
well, it's just
but I guess it's
sandboxing
given the
really.
results, it's somewhat justified.
Yeah, just sandboxing really gasses your confidence up. You're like, no one can beat this, and then you get crushed.
Really, I have no PTSD when it comes to that. So yeah, it was pretty solid performance. About game one on the map gen. What did you think of the map? It's
I mean, I just saw it and I instantly knew what to do.
yeah. Did
And
you
I
already
just,
have the base traits in mind at the start?
yeah,
Or
yeah, I already had arties with my ACU. That was the
okay.
plan. But I mean, the bomber got way more done than I expected, and he was slower than my base push. And if we met on the same side with ACU, it would have just probably been a stalemate, or he would have had an advantage with more land. So it was kind of lucky. It's just 5x5 is randomness. So
Yeah, you definitely had the better plan going into that.
yeah, I think he knew what to do too, but he just delayed it for a minute too long, and it was already over at that point.
How'd you feel about your game on Bermuda?
Yeah, best Bermuda so far. I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't actually prep anything from Bermuda. It's just macro kind of maps are much easier for me. So versus Tagada, I just tried some weird NT rush stuff, and versus Ajax, I played it safe and it worked out. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty standard ladder map.
What happened was Ajax went for two very quick laps, and well, not actually very quick. They are like quick enough that you would call them quick, but they arrived at minute 4 when you already had your factories done in your expansions.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
he also sent one to the right, which was idle there for half the game. And then he just dropped a minute later, and that's just cost him a lot of scaling
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah,
But
a
yeah,
lab probably won't. A lab won't do much anyways. Usually, like if you just drop 6 NGs, you can rush a factory or PD or something. If you have like a lab in addition to a bomber and then drop their side, you can crush them that way.
yeah, that's kind of what I thought as well. Like just a lab, it can be annoying, but if there's no real supporting units, then it's hard to accomplish much with it, or have any game deciding plays with it.
Yeah, the trans rush BO can definitely be crushed hard if you rush it. So, but that didn't happen. I didn't really expect him to do that, but he could have with the lab.
Well, there's always some rock paper scissors going on with
Yeah.
like this with the BOs.
Yeah, that's why trans rush maps are not great. They're fine once they stabilize, but yeah, not a fan of them in general.
All right. So thanks for coming on, Nexus. Game
Yep.
1 is about to start.
All right. Well, have fun. I'm gonna go back to bed.
What time is it for you?
11 a.m.
Okay, I see.
All right. Well, thanks for hosting, and yeah,
All right, we'll see
GG.
you around.
Have a good sleep.
See ya.
You've earned it. All right, so they've gone ahead and done their vetoes for the maps. SB vetoed Ditch, Bermuda, and DeRosas.
No surprise there.
Just vetoed the macro maps. It's fine.
Yes.
And then Tagada went ahead and vetoed 5x5 map gen, 7x7 map gen, and hard FFA.
Okay, so both of the vetoes not too surprising. Although, 5 kilometers is not really a map where Pepsi would definitely shine on, because Pepsi is usually a guy that is very aggressive. The thing is, on most 5-kilometer maps, you have no option as to spend all your mass on units, so you can't really over ego and die to an aggressive player because you have the same units because you made them anyway. Like, you can't really make a mistake that easily compared to a 10-kilometer map.
Absolutely.
So I would say that's. But then again, Pepsi's most confident map range is still 10 kilometers, I'd say, but I'd say the same for Tagada as well. It's very classically shines on just 10 kilometer land maps. I'd say he's very, very solid on them, and it's definitely a strong point. He's also very strong on the macro part, but it's like a level below how strong he is on the 10-kilometer land maps, I'd say.
So the map will be Crazy Rush, and it will be a Seraphim Mirror, as they both veto UEF.
Yes.
No Cyber this time.
Yeah, this makes a bit more sense. And I don't think we will see as static an early game as the last Crazy Rush. I think Pepsi might spice it up a little bit. But we will see.
We will see. I mean, he's a spicy player. This is just a fact. And
Why do these people keep joining?
there's so many of them. They're always different. Like, the title is Fall Invitational Final versus Esperanto. This is not an open game.
Could fix it by setting a minimum rating limit and then enforce it so that they are auto kicked when they join. Sadly, have to lower that rating limit a bit so you could join.
I think setting it at 2K is perhaps sufficient. Although, if you're real fancy, we'd make the games private and use a password. Ooh.
It's. Are we gonna use my passwords?
Well, we can't give it away on the stream.
Yeah.
Then everyone would know.
I don't think you quite know what I mean.
I think I might know what you mean. Sarah is actually stronger than UEF, only if you are
Yeah.
Paralon.
I don't know. I think UEF is stronger than Sarah, but I think it's closer than people make it out to be.
Well, it's just because Janus exists that people
Yeah,
love UEF.
true. But like the thing is, Janus are super OP on this map. But aside from Janus, Sarah is like stronger than UEF in most other. I mean, UEF still has Ravagers and Perseus and Titans, which are all good, but like Sarah has the best tech on bombers on the map like this. It has the Phobos, it has the Great Awasa, the best shields, the best tech to static RT, like all those things which are super important on this map are not to be underestimated. But I mean, I still think UEF is better just because of how strong Januses are. But I think if there would be a really good game, like Crazy Rush is so hard to play that like nobody can utilize the map to its fullest potential because of how hard it is. But if people would be closer to that potential, I think then the UEF advantage would be less strong. Because if you prep better versus the Janus, like make earlier shields and static flag and later on Sams to defend against them, then if you make sure you don't get Janus, then Sarah is actually in a very good position versus UEF, I think.
Although it seems like pretty theoretical. Like if we had some
Yeah,
super
it is,
advanced
it is.
AI that played this game, yeah, sure,
Well,
maybe.
well, no, not like that. I didn't say super advanced. Just like better than what is being played right now. It doesn't even need to be that much higher.
If we had actual pro players. And
Yes, exactly.
Semi-pro players.
If only the best pro player, Keezer, came back, then he would show us how to play KH first.
I think if Keezer came back, he might get the black art treatment.
Which is?
Not making it out of groups. Although, to be fair to Blackheart, he had the hardest possible group. Like, literally the two people in the finals were in his group.
I mean, you say the Blackheart treatment, but Blackheart went away for multiple years before, and whenever he came back, and then he made it like second place into Lots. So you can't really say that. Like in this case, yes, but not consistently. Or you might have gotten. I don't remember whether Patrick or Blackheart got first place in Lots of 2 years ago.
It's Patrick.
Patrick, okay. Yes.
Blackheart has never won a Lots, to my knowledge.
Oh yeah, true. Patrick won. First, Mephi won the first one, I think. Then Patrick 3 times, and Nexus won the last one.
Yep. But here we are. The finals of the Fall Invitational. Both these players have fought a lot of games to get here, fighting brutal semifinal matches and winning both of them. And now they'll fight each other on Crazy Rush in the Seraphim Mirror. There was a bit of pre-game banter that devolved into some sort of Cold War geopolitics. But I don't know if you made heads or tails of that, Farms.
No, I missed that.
Oh, tragic. There was some reference to World War II.
Okay. I guess it's finally time for the Polish to take their revenge on the Russians, if I could say so. So early BO, Pepsi went Lens Factory double Pigeon. Early BO is quite important on Crazy Rush. Sagara didn't go for the full crit BO. I think he made Pigeon Lens Factory.
He did.
Yes, so
Only one.
He does. Yeah, that's still fine. It's very normal to go Pigeon Factory or Max Factory or some slight variation of that. It's like the less greedy one. So the labs fight off. Actually, Tiger gets the better trade here because it's a draw at the end. Tiger Pepsi wasn't actually microing here, so he got quite lucky there.
The last shots just take out Taga to Celine. Which is a win for Taga because SB built his significantly earlier. That was a first Celine.
True. There's a second one that's Pepsi just, but also he has passed multiple of his engineers. Was probably stalling a bit.
Yeah, he's having serious mass problems. He's stalling -7. Which is not great. Tagada, on the other hand, has some incredibly refined, perfectly almost not stalling builds. He gets the tank out because he can't actually afford to have another engineer building things. It's all very elegant and well optimized.
Yeah, usually if you don't go for the greedy BO, you always make some units because if you just spam engineers, you're gonna stall. You can't spend that much build power early on, or you can at least use it. So, what we see, by the way, with the players making the maxes in a straight line, it is similar to what Nexus did last game. It was just Ajax that didn't do it. It makes it later on so much easier to quickly expand your maxes. You can queue up with engineers on multiple sides, and like the amount of buildable max locations for Tagada is way higher now than when he would make the maxes in the grids.
Look at this though. SB just decided to completely halt his scaling for the purpose of getting 2 bombers out extraordinarily fast. Like Tagada's air factory isn't done.
He does have a static AA, which is very important, but the first bomb, I'd almost say Pepsi should build a third bomber and try to kill the power.
He's building a third bomber. All the pigeons are perfectly clumped. The AA can't stop the bomber before it lands.
But I feel like the second bomber from Pepsi is premature because now that it got bombed the second time, Tagada, yeah, like he will repair them.
Yeah.
And the third bomber is too late from Pepsi.
Yeah.
It could have been a great plan, but
Tagada's like, all right, SB, I see what's going on here. Allow me to just, repair these a little bit. Not even to full health. I don't need that. Just to get them above 200 HP.
yeah, Pepsi does see Tagada's bomber because he has a nice cloaked talent because he made the second one, so he is gonna rush a static AA. But there's an MAA out for Tagada as well, and a static AA. And most of the pigeons were repaired. Oh, not all of them are above 200 HP. This might cause... No!
Wow.
Pepsi missed! The ones to the south were both below 200 HP, so you could have... If you dropped the bomb there, they might have chain reacted. But the bomb missed completely.
Meanwhile, Tagada's bomber gets 3 kills on SB's base. Some nice NG delayed, and now Tagada has 5 factories to 2.5.
Yeah, like Pepsi invested so much in these 3 bombers, and in the end of the day, they killed 2 engineers. They cost Tagada, like, he had to repair his pigeons, which cost energy and power, energy and mass. But, compared to the investments of the bomber, it's definitely not worth it. Now his air factory is passed, he doesn't have the economy to continue using it, and there's a tank from Tagada, he needs to deal with it. He needs to move his ACU, which is another annoyance, because you usually want to use your ACU to build the maxes at the start.
Like, SB needs to scale his eco much faster than he is. Like, even if this bomber was built, Tagada has so much power just in other places that one more bomb wouldn't make a huge difference. Although it would be nice. Probably kill the static AA and do a bit of damage. But the problem is Tagada is just good. Like, SB had a plan and the plan didn't work and he sacrificed so much for it.
Yeah, and now it's way too late. Like, even if he gets the bomb off, Tagada has enough backup power to easily rebuild them on the racks of the dead pigeons if Sniper were to work again, so...
I like the audacity, though. Like, you know what, game 1, it's a best of 7. I'm gonna do some all-in cheese right off the bat. Let's go.
It's not really all-in cheese, it's just... Honestly, it's not that unusual of a strategy. You see it quite often on Crazy Rush. Like, the bombers to that location to try and snipe clumps of power. It's not uncommon at all.
No. This is extremely uncommon. Like, he rushed those bombers out extraordinarily fast and sacrificed so much.
Have you never seen Paralon play Crazy Rush?
Yeah, usually he just does 1 or 2 to, like, try to get NGs.
No. Have you never seen Paralon or Slow?
I've seen him a lot of times. Oh, there goes the bomber. He does eventually get it, and Tagada will suffer.
If Russian equals bomber on power.
Is that how Russians play? And Tagada will power stall quite badly, actually, because he was using all this power to support his scaling.
Yeah, but his max crit is so much bigger than Pepsi's, which is, like, it's twice as big. That's insane. And he's stalling some power, yeah, but when it's fixed, it's like the max is already such a big advantage. So yeah, we see 7 factories from Pepsi versus 11 from Tagada. Pepsi harassing a bit with another bomber. His Selen is still in an amazing position. Actually, the bomber is gonna get the second pass off, so he's gonna prevent Tagada from making more factories for...
Wait, it misses? It hits the factory instead of the NG?
Where did it hit? It missed.
It hit the factory.
Oh.
It was on, like, auto attack. I guess SB assumed it was just going to die to 2 inties, so it just auto-locked.
Yeah, but what you tend to do is, you just queue up a target on one engineer, and then you just put priority on the bomber on engineer focus, so that even if it survives, it would just kill all the random engineers.
Yeah, I don't think we saw that in this case, though.
Yeah. So Pepsi's SU is moving north, but he should be moving west to intercept the army.
He's gonna try to hold.
He has to use his ACU, but that far forwards, I'm not too sure what the plan is.
The plan is to actually just go directly into Tagada's base and hope not to get Shift G'd, I guess. There's like Shift G potential. Tagada has so many tanks and SP has no support.
Yeah, definitely. This raider from Tagada somehow managed to stay alive as well.
Yeah, Tagada just sees this ACU here and he's like, oh, huh. I can go kill it if I am careful. And SP is not. Although now SP will bring the army to the ACU, back the ACU up for a bit, and now try to push them together. But guess what? Tagada also has an ACU. Imagine that. And he can just meet this army.
That's cheating.
Yeah, like with Defender's Advantage, he can just meet the army.
Yeah, he has way more units, and perhaps he shouldn't be able to break through. His ACU is not with his units, so...
Oh, good.
He will just use them.
The units are all gonna die.
I guess that's true.
Like, he's just trying to run by here, and the ACU can just sort of back up and go home. And he does get in behind, forcing emergency PD up, and being generally annoying. But just look at the eco difference. Tagada operating at almost double mass income. More than double power income.
Yeah, that's just insane.
And a few tanks that run into the back really can't make up for that as much as they'd like to.
Yeah, he's gonna charge ahead with his ACU, but soon he will find himself swarms, and I feel like this is some sort of last-ditch play he's trying to make, but I think perhaps he also knows that after the field power snipe at the start, his chances of winning this first game are basically over. And in here you see Tagada with the Shift G, and Pepsi is completely surrounded.
He just doesn't have any support anymore. SB just hasn't scaled as much as Tagada after that early bomber attack failed. And now he will die. What? Good defense from Tagada. Managing to hold off the bombers. Taking the time to repair all the P-gens, so no serious damage was done until much later.
Yeah, it's why I said, like, if Pepsi didn't target the power with the second bomber, his intentions wouldn't have been given away. Because just the first bomber damaging the power, the first bomber was also going for the engineers. So you don't necessarily think, oh, he's going for my power. You don't instantly make that connection. But once you see the second bomber bombing purely the power, you instantly start repairing them. It's to stay in the game, because if those get sniped and that was all your power, you're in some deep trouble.
The question is, what do you do now? More cheese?
Not necessarily. I don't agree this is cheese at all. Cheese is often
No, this is like the perfect example of cheese. Like, it's an early aggressive play that only works if your opponent isn't expecting it and doesn't scout it properly. And Tagada knew it was coming because he correctly deciphered that that's what was happening and just built around it.
It's not really cheese, it's more like a common strategy.
Well, cheese can be a common strategy. It's not mutually exclusive.
Usually cheese is... I don't really agree, I think.
Alright, maybe we have different definitions of cheese.
Yeah. Maybe my StarCraft definition of cheese impacted a bit.
I don't know, I feel like this meets the Liquipedia definition.
In StarCraft, usually cheese is some very unorthodox... well, no, actually that's not true at all, because fucking cannon rush exists.
Yeah, like, very popular strategy to cannon rush, and it's still cheese.
Maybe it's cheese, but it's... yeah. When someone says cheese, I think of some weird kind of half all-in strategy where that's not very common. I don't know. Maybe my definition is just bad.
Yeah, like,
in my head.
This was won or lost by the fact that Tagada successfully reacted to a very specific strategy. Like, if that didn't work...
A common strategy.
Yeah, like, if SB successfully pulled that off, he probably would have won the game. Like,
I don't think so, but he would have done a lot of damage.
I don't know, you get your power triple bombed and you have like 2 pigeons at minute 4.5 or something.
You underestimate how easy it can be to recover on Crazy Rush.
Well, you need power to recover, and if all your
You can
power's
rebuild
dead,
on the you can rebuild on the Rex. The moment your power snipes, you still have E in storage. You can always Control K factories and Control K a single land factory, reclaim it for the power while rushing the other power. You're just delayed, but Pepsi is also delayed with this aggressive strategy. It's
Yeah.
by no means lost. It's actually, if he snipes the power, Pepsi has a slight advantage. That's what I would give him.
all right, I would give him a much more significant advantage.
No. You're sorry, but I've seen so many Crazy Rush games where something way more brutal happened, and even that it still became close to in the end.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not recoverable, but it really sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's the biggest issue is that it's not that you have to recover from it, but it's that you're the flow of the game is kind of disrupted for you. All of a sudden, it's very chaotic, and that's the biggest issue on Crazy Rush, I think.
Well, we should get a more normal map next, because hard FFA is vetoed, so can't pick that.
Let's see, why are they arguing?
They're arguing. SB is mad that his strategy didn't work, because the Tagadith knows what the Parallon build is.
Tell them to host. You need to challenge them with your authority here.
Game 2, please. No. It was in response to a different question, but, you know.
Tell them game 2 or disqualification.
Game 2 or riot.
Exactly.
Ah, there we go. Open palms.
Open palms, the Pepsi pick. Okay.
Is SB really that good at open palms, or is Tagada actually just bad at open palms?
It's Tagada isn't bad at it, but it is. It's a 10 kilometers. Like what I said before, both of them will be decent at 10 kilometer maps. Like I think both of their best map size is 10 kilometers. So unicorn noob. So I think they both should be completely fine on open palms. I'm not sure if one of them has a specific advantage here. But maybe it comes down to prep on open palms specifically, or they just would rather like to play.
I mean, open palms is such a well-played map that it sometimes can come down to this sort of rock paper scissors build type things. Like, do you greedily expand? Do you raid? Where do you raid?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a bit weird with the vetoes for them because I guess Tagada would like to play is more confident on 20 kilometer maps, but because both of their most favorite map styles are 10 kilometers, but you know that from the opponent as well, so you're like, do I pick it? But I like to play the map, but he likes to play the map. It's like, do you pick it at this point? So it can make it a bit awkward to actually pick the maps. And at some point, maybe you just pick a map that you don't want to play, but you know your opponent doesn't want to play either. You see? And maybe that way you can make some weird things happen. Catch your opponent off guard in some of these games. Maybe if you prepare some fancy strategy on a map that you would normally never play.
All right, it will be a UEF versus Seraphim matchup with SB getting the Seraphim.
What did they veto?
Tagada vetoed Cybern.
Okay.
And SB vetoed Seraphim.
Okay, so yeah, like you can see from the vetoes and the factions they picked, it's like any faction can work on open bombs. Unlike some certain other maps, it's none of the factions have a clear disadvantage on bombs. Cybern quick commanders are very strong on a rate heavy map like bombs, especially early in the game, and later on Cybern just has a good repertoire of units. Then UEF plus Mongoose, extremely strong tech 2. Weak at tech 1, but can deal with it. Sarah is also just very strong with tech 1 and tech 2 spam. Just as Aeon is. Aeon early flares actually probably made Aeon quite strong on palms. Although I would say Labs were always strong on palms, so.
Yeah, Palms is definitely a map where Labs can do a lot because there's so many expanding NGs in different directions. You either have to protect them all or risk Labs killing them.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure how. Wait, let me actually check how much cheaper Aeon Labs are compared to UEF. Okay, not that much. Build time. Yeah, you can basically build 3 UEF Labs for a single, for 2 flares. So even though the flares are very strong, I'd say that Mech Marines may be situations like this where you can just send Mech Marines everywhere and just eventually they will find engineers to kill on pumps.
Well, the real advantage is that Mech Marines are significantly faster than flares as well, so they can try to get to an NG before its defensive escort arrives.
Oh, that's true actually. 0.4, that's pretty, quite a big difference actually.
Yeah, when you have to go across the entire map, that really adds up.
Yes. So we will see if Tagada will make some labs. Pepsi is Seraphim, so he will not have labs. He will make some Salons, but Salons always feel a bit awkward to like you can't really use them as labs. With the recent, well, I say recent, with the last buff where they can shoot while moving, they're a lot better to use as labs to snipe some engineers, but it's still bit awkward to use them. So Pepsi actually goes first Salon, so that's quite aggressive. He's gonna park it right in front of the Hydro.
That's an interesting place.
They shouldn't find any early damage. It should just be there for intel, I guess.
I mean, he's gonna cloak it, so I guess just for intel. But the ACU should probably spot it when it moves out.
Yeah, I think so too, or at least it's gonna be close. Actually, Tagada made a turret scout, so that will scout the Salon moving in as well. There's people that do the 3P gens with ACU before walking to the Hydro BO, and if they do that BO, then sometimes you can, try to kill one of the first engineers building the Hydro, because there's usually nothing to defend it yet. The thing is, even if you kill them, it's so close to your enemy base that I'm not sure how good that would be. Anyway, the Salon meets the Snoop and it's getting distracted.
The Snoop can theoretically win.
Yes.
Because it's faster and can...
And you can see it's being microed. It's actually doing quite a lot of damage. And Snoop is one of the only scouts that can win. A Spirit can, in theory, too, but it is half the DPS of a Snoop, so it will take so much time to micro and kill it that it's most of the time not even worth doing it.
Yeah, now a tank will just be sent after it, and...
Yeah, and the Snoop will actually kill it. One more shot and it will be down. Our build actually... Oh, it might live on 3 HP?
No, the Snoop is actually sent forward. There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that feels bad for Pepsi. You don't want to see your Salon die to Snoops at the start of the game.
Yeah, Porcelain, and it was first too, and it really didn't acquire really any usable intel. It actually didn't scout the factories that were being built in the main base. It just sort of saw that snoops exist and that there's a tank somewhere.
Yeah, he didn't get much intel from that at all. The only thing he forced was Tagada to micro his snoops a bit, but aside from that, not really. There's a quick bomber out from Pepsi, but it is scouted by a snoop from Tagada.
Yeah,
The
Tagada
same one,
knows.
the same snoop as before. So Tagada is going first to Inti, although it won't be finished on time. So he did finish an MAA though, but he will lose a few engineers unless he dodges nicely.
Is he trying to... Well, no, dodge towards the innie.
Yeah, I was about to say that's with some bad luck here.
Alright, 2 MMAs, and it's gotta leave. But the inti's now out.
The bomber survives on 2 HP, but it kills an engineer in the main base, which is not an engineer that's important to snipe.
I mean,
You-
the real damage is it forced 2 MAAs. That's it.
Yeah, but now your opponent has an Inti, 2 MAAs, you know you can't do any damage with your bomber. It's not really the damage you were hoping for. You always force AA anyway.
Yeah, there
Actually,
was...
Tagada just made another MAA.
Alright, that might be too many MAA.
That might be too many.
I mean, he's now perfectly immune to bombers for the rest of the opening, but good luck. Epsi isn't making it.
Yeah, and Tagada has engineers expanding everywhere, but you know they're not defended, but they're not being attacked, so they work. And I mean, it's a bit of a weakness for Sarah in the early games because you don't have labs. Yes, you have Salons, but you know they can be a bit more clunky.
They
I
got a
definitely
snoops.
think exactly, but I think that perhaps should have built more Salons, but and just parked them and made them invisible, and at some points you can find some nice value with them. But yeah, so far the opening not working out too well for Pepsi.
SB's build is
But
actually dubious. He's stalling 80 power and is about to stall mass. But he does pick off the expanding engine going to the right, which is a pretty big win.
Yeah, you see Tagada actually rushed the Hydra on the left expansion. He expanded there with his SU and 2 engineers, so he got it really quickly. Pepsi is now finally getting there, but he's quite a bit later, and that's quite a bit of mass income he's missing.
Look at this though. SB's doing the ACU through the middle idea.
Oh, I see.
Like-
That's a bit uncommon.
Yeah, you can sort of make it work, especially if Tagada doesn't scout it, and not sure he knows, although this air scout will spot it now. So the correct
Yeah,
response here is, yeah, he backs up with the ACU immediately to meet SB.
The thing with moves like this from Pepsi is that if you have less units, it's so hard to make it work. And also when it's not a big surprise, because he doesn't have that many reinforcements. Tagada has more map control because the opening went so much better for him.
Yeah, now SB's going to lose his NG in the back of his base. The fight on the right isn't looking super hot. But he's going to try to make this work. But he has no intel. 'Cause he was trying to build a radar, but couldn't finish it due to bomber.
You can ask the motor what he thinks about it.
Yes, what does he think? I think he would say that this tank raiding the NG on the right is actually pretty good. Like, this actually can get into the back, kill the second NG. And the thing about going through the middle is you actually don't have to commit to it. As long as you stay out of range of Shift Gs and your opponent's ACU, you can just leave.
committing to it.
He can
Yes,
leave.
He's about to be Shift Gs.
He doesn't have to do this. Oh, he's like target prioritizing power, but that's really ambitious. He's a bit of support, and this is only 18 tanks, so it's not enough to kill him until the ACU gets in range.
The ACU's first 4 targets were an MAA and 3 snoops.
Not the
And
best.
now it's shooting another MAA and another snoop. It's getting everything but the tanks.
And now he's getting completely boxed in. There's no overcharge available right now. And now the ACU from Tagada is in range, and he will just walk at SB. SB is totally without support.
Got that? And the classic Tagada BM.
Yeah, this is
But
some pretty BM.
It is partially justified. I mean, he's right. Lucky scouts, Pepsi says. With the classic Pepsi move as well. But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, push to the mid. It can be very strong. But then again, it is quite a distance, and your opponent has the defender's advantage. And if his ACU is there to defend, and he scouts it quickly enough, and he has more units than you as well, then the chance of it working is very, very small.
So Tagada takes game 2. Up 2-0.
Yeah.
Pretty solid games.
Now we need to wait for another big arguments, and then we can play the third game.
Well, I mean, if Tagada's gonna go out and BM you like that, maybe you gotta go and defend your honor in the tourney chat. But of course, it gets to be Tagada's map pick again. He can go pick, I don't know, maybe Roanoke. Some nice macro map.
Yeah, let's see. What would you pick as Tagada here?
Honestly, Roanoke. I think you probably want to shy away from map gens, at least right off the bat, and you want to shy away from small, spammy maps. So you go and you look and you say, oh, SB has vetoed all of the other macro maps, so I just have Roanoke left, because I already picked Bermuda.
Yeah. The thing is, Roanoke was, it used to be a lot in the pool, but in recent years it's barely in there anymore, so it's more of an old school map, a lot more. And I don't think neither Tagada nor Pepsi have played it a lot. At least I don't remember. Like, sure, they've played it in tournaments and probably in some ladder games, but on average, they probably didn't play it that much. So I can see Tagada pick Roanoke, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of his strong maps. But same for Pepsi, so that might be a reason to pick it. Seems like it's Twin Rivers actually. That was still left, and it's also pretty classic map. That's decent for Tagada.
Yeah, Twin Rivers.
Yes.
Why not? Your Tagada, Twin Rivers, is a very comfortable map. Alright, chat is now giving Tagada 800 to 1 odds.
I take those odds. Let me oh wait, I'm a mod, so I can't.
No, mods can.
I can?
No, I think you're in a bad country, though.
Bad country?
Well, one of those countries that considers this illegal gambling.
Oh.
Like, I think you just can't. Unless you use a VPN or something. Like, the Netherlands doesn't let you do it.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
What if they get to know my PokerStars account?
Oh no. Oh no.
With my $5 on it.
$5.
I mean, you're talking about the gambling thing, but most of the gambling stuff over here is sponsored by the states, so...
Well, that's the problem. No one's paying the Dutch government taxes on chat points.
Yeah, that is true.
It will be a Seraphim mirror, as they both ban UEF.
Okay. I would have loved to see some nice Aeon. I like Aeon on Twin Rivers.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could have gone that route, but Seraphim, it's very solid.
Seraphim is always a solid pick. It's just that I think Aeon is a bit stronger, although if I were to be playing, I think I would pick Sarah as well. It's because I can't play Aeon. Or more like when I play Aeon, I can't make Tech 1 bombers. It's just sad. I just select the bomber and it does 5 somersaults and crashes into the ground. And I'm like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Happens to the best of us.
I still don't understand how it is like this. Or not made it this way.
Well, there's actually code in the game that checks if the player is farms, and then it just makes the bombers do dumb stuff.
I kind of wonder, isn't it possible to, like, copy parts of the Sarah Tech 1 bomber code and just make the Aeon one behave the same way? I don't know if that would be possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the specifics there. That seems like a question for Jip.
Yeah.
He probably knows.
Get on with it.
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
leave. Let's go to a panel. Alright, here we go. Or I say, and then they don't click the launch button.
Here we go. I feel.
No, not you either.
Who has the magic words? Tagada is still busy arguing in the Twitch chat. That must be it.
Oh yes, he's just debating in Twitch chat rather than playing the game.
Okay.
Now here we go.
Ah, right on. No, that was too late.
It was
That
too late.
doesn't count either.
I did it after I knew that it was launched. It's basically cheating.
Yeah, kinda. That's right.
So SP has changed his color. Very interesting strategic decision. Trying to get into Tagada's head with an entirely different color. That's exactly how it works, right?
Yes, he's going for gray. He wants to blend in with the rocks.
The very
it's
gray
just-
terrain of Twin Rivers.
I mean, if he hides next to a cliff, then it might be possible.
Just because you already know Nexus color and not scared already seems like a way why I lost 2-0.
I think he's onto something.
I think those are words.
Those are definitely words.
What do they mean?
Don't worry, once you have practiced enough Turin speak, eventually you will be able to decipher anything.
Well, we will find out exactly what's going on here at some point, I hope. But
Yeah, let's see.
pretty standard Twins builds planned.
Yeah, I have absolutely zero clue about the Twins BO, so I am not going to say anything about it.
Now we're seeing... Actually, they're strangely identical.
Yeah, true.
Is one of them copying the other?
Maybe they're on the same team.
Not again.
Not again.
Although, there is a slight difference in that Tagada's gonna get 2 Selines instead of 1 Celine. Whoa.
And he's gonna send both of them in a weird pattern to the right side.
Yeah, this Celine is attack moving its way to victory.
But I'm confused by those attack moves. Why are there 4 of them, and why are they in that location?
I don't know. Maybe he wants to find Espy's Celine, but it's actually going on the entire other side of this map.
Yeah.
So these Celines will not find it. And then, I don't know. We'll see what damage this Celine can possibly get done, or if it's just trying to go for intel. Unfortunately, Tagada's dealing damage to his own tree clumps. Though they aren't really
There are no tree clumps on
Well, aren't
Twitter.
there
No,
some that are mixed in with single trees, or are they all single trees?
zero.
Oh, dang. Well,
I've
first
played-
Celine will no longer be attack moved and find a tank.
Oh, true. And it's nicely dodging the shots, but it's so low. Ah, the Selene got the last hit.
Dodged every shot but one, and that was
Yes.
it.
But the second one will manage to sneak past, but it won't really arrive on time to do any serious damage, I'd say.
SP wants to steal the reclaim that normally would belong to Tagada here. But Tagada's going to respond. He's going to send some tanks over here, but I don't think they'll be fast enough, especially because SP is protecting this engineer pretty well.
Yeah, he will, even if the engineer will die, he will at least get most of that mass, which is quite a nice boost. He is about to work on his back hider as well. He's a bit later than Tagada. Tagada's already half on the way, but it's not by a big difference. Pepsi, on the other hand, is a bit faster in expanding to his 4-max expansion. And of course, he sent the engineer to mid, which is... but Tagada gets the nice micro in mid, so he will actually win the fight, and he won't lose anything. So the engineer won't actually get that much mass in mid because it skipped all the mag marines and went straight into the big racks. So it spent more time moving around.
He got like 300 mass out of that, which is...
Not worth it. I
yeah, for losing a tank and an NG, those costs money, as it were.
You lose a tank, an engineer, a Selene, and you delay a few of your other expansions. Like on the right side, the 2 maxes, you didn't grab those yet. There's a Selene from Tagada as well, but...
It's waiting for an NG to go try and grab those, but
yeah.
it will have to be patient.
At this point, Tagada's like, well, like, the Selene isn't doing anything, but as long as he doesn't have these 2 maxes, I'm happy.
It's just, he wants to keep an eye on the mexes, make sure they don't get built. Good scouts.
Yep, and this engineer might die there.
Tagada wants to make something happen here on the left side, but he really doesn't have the units to make it happen. Like, there's just not enough tanks here.
Yeah, and at this point, even if he somehow sneaks past, the maxes are built at this point, so even if the engineer gets sniped, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. I mean, he won't have those 2 maxes, but the 4 maxes are the most important ones.
Alright, a tank is being brought in.
Moves the tank to clear off the Selene. I'm not sure if in this situation, okay, he will actually kill the one engineer, but...
Maybe? They're both dodging. Oh, he survives.
That was very close. Oof, indeed.
Oof.
Okay, so no transports out yet. Perhaps he actually made an air factory all the way at the back. So he should have 2 air factories. He started his transports as well. Tagada is still on only 1 air factory.
Well, the
But
one
he
in the
has more
back,
land spam.
it's only building NGs right now.
Oh, okay. But Tagada has 3 more land factories at the moment. So he has way more units.
Bomber
They said
trying
in a-
to exploit the shift G, but SP split his tanks up.
It was a bait. But Tagada will, I think, win the land fight here.
Yeah, Tagada
Pretty
reinforced it a lot.
quickly.
And this
Like,
PD isn't going to finish.
Pepsi wins the air fight. Oh, it's not actually a win, it's more like a draw. The PD, I don't think, will finish on time.
Well, the tanks are kind of
There's
distracted.
there's enough reinforcements for Pepsi, or almost enough, but if those reinforcements were there in the first place, then it would have been an even fight. But now defeat in veto happens, and Tagada gets an amazing trade.
The PD doesn't finish. It's just the tanks now have to be dealt with somehow, but they're really... Where's the reinforcements?
Tagada actually got 2 tanks. I think they were stuck on the rocks at the bottom, but because all Pepsi's tanks are now focused on the first batch of tanks that got through, those 2 tanks can now move in and can snag some of the maxes. It is quite funny.
And they're going to kill the PD. Like, he could have tried to drop NGs on it and rebuild it.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. It's like 90 cents.
Oh, he's going to try to do that anyway.
Yeah, I think it's the right move.
Only if he's fast, though. And he is really fast, just immediately getting that up.
Yes, he will lose maybe a single engineer, but he defends the maxes. That's a very good drop actually. Nice, quick decision making. He could have used that to drop an island, but this is probably better.
Well, he can always drop an island later.
Yeah, true. I mean, he can still do that, yeah. But now this important expansion is secured. The raid at the back is still going. It's slowly dying off. It killed 2 maxes. Actually, it didn't find too much damage, but it was annoying. That's for sure.
Yeah, Tagada just has way more tanks, it looks like. SP sitting at 22 versus 60.
Yeah, he is gorilla pushing the right side. Look at the amount of factories in Tagada's base and compare them to the amount of factories in Pepsi's base. He has so many more.
That's so many more, and he's getting T2 mechs on the back of this, and he's pushing all sides, and there's still tanks in the back. He's scouting the sides and putting bombers there. This is Tagada's comfort zone.
Yeah, this looks very bad for Pepsi. He kind of needs to defend against this. I'm not sure where he's spending his mess at the moment, but with the pressure Tagada is forcing it, he's denying a lot of maxes. At the moment, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 maxes missing from Pepsi, and he's about to lose another one.
Well, the plan is T2 land from SB, but beautiful bomb killing 5 Engis in a single pass.
Oh, it's painful.
And the tanks, they're just getting in and killing Nexus. SB can't even defend.
Tagada's gonna run over the main base.
Yeah, there's nothing here to stop at the army. It's just at the gates. The T2 land isn't going to be done in time.
Another bomb comes in and kills 3 more engineers, rushing the tech to HQ.
And now, SB's ACU is just completely out of position. The Shift G.
Yeah, but I mean, with that ACU out of position or not, I think like his base would have been overrun because he had less units. He took bad fights upon bad fights, and because those fights were bad, the next fights were even worse because he had even less units, and it snowballs out of control.
Tagada will just BM SB even more for maximum tilt, I suppose, by building a wall of hearts, a heart of walls. Well, there he goes. Tagada takes game 3 again, very convincingly.
Yeah, that was just a massive spam setup, and Pepsi didn't respond accurately at all.
Alright. Can we get the reverse sweep now?
Hey. The reverse sweep, yes, we're waiting for it.
Yeah, this is best of 7, so SB can still win the remaining 4 games and take first place. Will he, though?
Will he or not?
You know, I'm not going to say he isn't, but there is still a chance, and SB does get to pick the next map, maybe win it, build some momentum.
Yeah, that Pepsi. This is Pepsi's pick, so he really needs to pick something. Right, he really thinks he can get a win off, but it's gonna be tough for him to come back.
It really is. He's down 3 games in a best of 7. But he can try.
He can try, that's for sure. Let's see.
You can always try. And I mean, hey, if you get tournament experience versus Tagada, that is just generally good. Even if you aren't winning the games. Lots is coming up.
You're in the finals of a tournament, and yeah, you might be losing, but you're getting tournament experience. That's not the kind of thing you're hoping to hear.
I'm trying to say something nice.
That's more of BM than being nice.
All right, well you got me there. At least I'm not making hearts out of walls.
It's true. Okay, so there will be a map gen. Not salty, not tilty is the title.
I don't believe him. Do you, Times?
I always believe Pepsi.
It's a good
And
strategy.
it is gonna be a 20-kilometer map gen. And that is quite the map that we are presented with.
I will bring it up momentarily.
Does the Saga still not know how to check that in game?
What is Tagout trying to do?
Oh, he said, what map size is this? He asked.
Well, you can tell it's a full 20 by 20.
Well, yeah, you can just hover over the map name, but apparently he didn't know, which surprised me. Or I just feel like he has asked that many times before.
Well, you can't tell by hovering over the map name anymore. Because the
I
15
can.
by 15s are actually listed as 20 by 20s, but they have black bars around the edges. So that's how you tell the difference.
Oh, the 15 kilometer. I see, okay. I didn't know they were listed as 20 by 20. I guess it's a limitation. It can only show 5, 10, and 20, and
Yeah.
40, etc.
Like, you can put black bars around your map, but as far as the lobby is concerned, it is a 20 by 20 map.
Oh yeah, but if you can see the black bars on the map, so that would tell you, like, the map size.
How much you paid Nexus for personal trainings? Damn.
Can I have it?
So this is a kind of interesting map. A lot of reclaim all over the place, very spread out. Mexes in a lot of different dropping locations. Dang, how do I get this kind of money, Farms?
Oh fuck!
You alright there?
I dropped my ear pieces on the ground. No,
Oh no.
they're expensive.
I hope you recover.
I should stop playing with them. There. Saved them.
Alright, SB thinking about what he wants to veto here. Charlotte, you veto. Actually, I don't know. There's a lot of options here.
Let's see.
Like, it's not really a Navy map, but it kind of is. Because missile cruisers are good.
I
Late.
think all factions are fine on this map.
Yeah, like you need land stuff, you need air stuff. Navy is nice. Really anything you can get away with.
Yeah.
SP wants to regen the map, but Tagada doesn't. I think he was hoping for like a land map with just lots of spam.
What are the rules for the map generation? Is it like is it something like both players get to decide if you want a reroll, or they need to agree to do a reroll?
They need to agree.
Okay.
If Tagada says no, then no reroll.
Okay, so there's not gonna be a reroll.
And only one reroll. Like, if you reroll, you gotta stick with what you get next. Otherwise, I don't want, like, infinite rerolls. Tagada's gonna rush a proxy T2 cruiser. He's learned from me. I mean, if he really learned from me, he'd rush a nuke. And then have the game go on for another 45 minutes. But yeah, I don't think this is what SP was hoping for in the map gen.
Yeah, he probably wanted a more map gen map that he played versus Blackheart, the 20-kilometer one with a massive amount of open terrain in the middle, with tons of maxes.
Yeah, if he could get that, he'd be very happy. But map gen is a cruel mistress.
It is.
Will sometimes give you something that, you know, your opponent might like more than you do. I might experiment with rules in the future where, like, one player can reroll just if they want to, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Sorry, what did you say?
Should I let players re-roll the map, like, unilaterally without having to agree?
Maybe you want to give both a single reroll in that case, so that if one dislikes the map too much, he can choose to reroll, and then if the other dislikes that map too much, you can have a reroll. That's the other possible way to do it, I'd say.
Or I could also do it that the person who picks the map gets to decide if there's a reroll or not.
That's also possible actually, but then if it's like that, then it's possible. Then it's actually quite advantageous for the one that picks the reroll, because you may get a map that your opponent likes or is good for your opponent, but not for you. Then you can just reroll, and but your opponent can do the same. But it's supposed to be like you're getting an insane advantage in that case.
It is an insane advantage, but it's a reason to be the one who picks
Yeah.
map gen.
Yeah, that's kind of true. It is kind of your map pick, but I'm not really sure what the best way is.
Maybe I'll think on it and let you know in 6 months in the next tournament. Gonna play spring qualifier farms?
I don't know.
We'll find out. All right, here we go. Game 4 of the grand finals of the Fall Invitational. Tagada versus SB. Tagada is up 3 games. And now we have a kind of wacky map gen.
It's not. I would say the 5-kilometer one was more wacky. I think this is not too uncommon for our map gen.
It's not too uncommon, but there's 41,000 reclaim.
Yes, there are some very dense clumps of mass all around the map. It's actually not as much as you would think. It is a 20-kilometer map after all, so even though it looks like a lot,
but it's a lot.
No, it's not. It's really not a lot. If you have a 10-kilometer map with 10k mass, do you think it's a lot?
Well, that's a decent amount. But the problem is, like, it's all very clustered, and you can just drop.
It's below average. Well, yeah, that's a big difference, of course. It's all clustered. There's actually, in the tiny pond in mid, there's actually also quite a few Tech 2 Rex there. In a bit of a weird location.
Like, if it was all in 10 mass rocks, I wouldn't say it's nearly as much, but because it's clustered into Rex.
Yeah, but generally, for a 20-kilometer map, it looks like a lot, and it is clustered, but you won't be able to eco much on this reclaim. The point what you will do with the reclaim is just you just have to fight for the entire mid basically. So you just scale production and make more units with that reclaim. So perhaps he switches up the colors again. This time he is in UD form.
He's gonna try all the colors until he finds one he can win with. That's the plan.
Yeah, so the actual spawn is a bit empty. There's only 4 maxes and a few rocks around it. Both of them are planning to send a quick engineer to the closest reclaim field, which makes sense. They're both gonna be rushing a transport, no doubt, to drop all over the map. The issue is, do we make transport first, or some inties and bombers first, and then the transport? Can make quite a bit of a difference, but I think a quick transport could probably good. It's gonna be tough though, because there's so much to do at the start, and you like, what do you want to prioritize? It's a hard decision to make.
The rush distance is really long, like almost the maximum possible. So I think NT rush is generally bad. SP's actually going to get NGs out of this air factory.
Yeah, he did quick air factory, single scout, and then so he's kind of going for the mid. And now he's making Inti. I don't know about that.
They both want an Inti. Okay, they'll air fight.
Like, maybe a single Inti and then a transport?
Tagada just wants Intis on repeat. SB is gonna get single Inti scout transport. I mean, single Inti can go and lock onto the scout that's coming across, so...
Yes, and he should have locked it, but I don't think he has.
No, I don't think so.
He's attack moved his Inti across the map, but killing that scout, like his first scout, it gave him the option to kill that first scout from Tagada, and if that denies all vision, it's a world of difference. Now Tagada knows exactly what he's up against, and Tagada did snipe the first scout from Pepsi. Pepsi might have locked the first Inti from Tagada because of that scout.
See, now Tagada just sees everything. He knows the transport is there. He knows SB's loading every NG onto it. What's going on here, though? It's weird orders.
Yeah, he does have a Seraphim. Oh, look at that Seraphim transport! No, it's the most inefficient of all transports. But yeah, just not killing that first Inti is so bad, and because he went for an Inti and not first transport. If he just went first transport, it would have been a lot less bad. But now Tagada is locked on the transport with most of his Intis. And Pepsi is not properly microing his Intis to get a nice turn. So he needs to micro his transport to keep it to stay alive. He's actually, I think he will drop all his engineers there. And then repair it and survive the Intis. And then drop off again.
Yeah, the repair... Wait, he drops one and then leaves.
That is not the right move to do. He needs to drop. He will lose everything.
It's okay, one of them will survive.
Pepsi is sending 2 more Intis. They're going across the map. Oh, there's drop from Tagada. Tagada is dropping mix in the meantime. The transport from Pepsi actually dies. And
that's
he's
huge.
right outside the base.
Meanwhile, Tagada's
Tagada
transport...
will drop mid. He's actually gonna drop the mid on Pepsi's side. That's very greedy, but if it works, then...
Well, SV doesn't have a transport. What's he gonna do about it?
Well, make a second one, but he doesn't have air control either.
He's gonna make a bomber.
Tagada has 4 air factories. I'm surprised he has enough E for that. I fear that he doesn't. But
I like this. He builds a factory to build the transport with the engines that escaped.
Oh, it's true actually. Yeah, that's pretty smart. And there is a reclaim where he drops. The issue is that he will be so late in mid that if Tagada just sends a massive spam and prevents most of the drops, then it's gonna be tough for Peps to come back.
Wow, Tagada's transport survives with 24 HP as SB's Intis tried to escape, but ended up just dying.
No, yeah. It's a bomb from Pepsi, but it is locked and it will be killed as well.
I mean, he knows that Tagada is trying this forward base. He's scouted that. But what can he do about it?
The answer is not a lot at this point.
I mean, he can go try to proxy on, like, the left side.
Yeah, like, at this point, I feel like he should just drop on the left and on the right sides. Because mid is important, but it's not all. The sides are equally important. But it's just mid is better because from it you can go to all sides. It just makes it a lot easier to play. But But yeah, the transport on the left gets nicely past, he's dropping a few engineers different places, and if he sets up a massive proxy there, and then also manages to drop the right side, it's still possible for him to do something. Like, he's not necessarily behind because losing mid there, because with the reclaim, early on the map control is not as important, because you can just survive on the reclaim. It's just the longer the game goes on, the worse it gets, obviously. He needs to stop suiciding inties in mid though. Tagada gets a lot of value out of his inties.
Tagada already has double the inties.
Yeah, he just has insane efficient fighting. Perhaps he queues up 20 factories on the left side.
Classic SB
yeah.
maneuver. Are all these gonna be like
Yeah.
Zui factories to like spam across the water? Because there's actually a ledge here that makes these units take forever to actually get to the mid. Unless they can sneak by.
I mean, I think Pepsi is overestimating the mess on this map. He can never afford this many factories. But Tagada, on the other hand, is very slow on dropping the right side. It's minute 7 and just barely now the transport leaves his base. Which is quite late. Like, I expected him, like, to have... He did make a second transport, but he just didn't use it.
SB does spot the transport from Tagada as it's moving over to the right side. And he does have inties there. So with any luck,
Yeah, actually,
can shoot this down.
he can, if he locks it now. Pepsi, you missed the transport. I think he locked it, but it might be too late. Tagada will be able to drop there if he reacts quickly, but he's not reacting at all.
Oh, there we go. The move
Finally,
back.
there's the micro, but that's the other inti from Pepsi that might kill it. Oh no, he shot at the engineer. He could have killed it if the inti didn't hit an engineer, but hit the transport instead.
So he will successfully make it to the right side, but kind of the very southern portion of the right side. Like, the actual 6 mexes in the north are really far away.
It's not at the most ideal location, but he is lucky that he got out in the first place. He reacted kind of slow, and well, he could have lost the transporter with all engineers in them, for sure. Pepsi is walking mid with his ACU, and so is Tagada. They kind of arrive. No, Tagada is actually a bit earlier.
Although SB has stuff to actually fight, Tagada will have to wait a while if he wants to get to the front lines.
Yeah, true.
SB is spamming Zuis across the water to just attack these undefended 3 mechs expansions, which is very good. Tagada doesn't really have any bombers to react to this immediately.
Yeah, now Pepsi is dropping the right sides. He already has some FAFLive support, although that won't do too much. Tagada is on the meantime is dropping the left side, but Pepsi has so many factories there, I doubt it's gonna... I mean, if it's scouted by Pepsi, then it won't survive for long, but Pepsi has no intel there. Pepsi is kind of slow expanding there, and I feel a big mistake from Pepsi is he didn't make a second transport either. If he just made a second transport and dropped a single engineer on all the 3 max expansions on the left side, he could have had a lot more eco a lot faster.
SB's gonna go ahead and throw away his inties again and take a really unfortunate air fight.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But these Phobos might accomplish a lot if they're just sort of left to their own devices. Bombers are now going to come out from Tagada to start cleaning these up, which is kind of the risk you take. The bombers will just be very cost effective, as Phobos are really expensive.
Yeah, you can't... like, maybe on super high reclaim maps you can afford like these massive Phobos spams, but on a map like this there's only 25k reclaim left. Again, it's 20 kilometers, it's not that much reclaim at all. And Phobos are costly. You can't, especially if you don't have the map control and a lot of mexes to support it, you won't be able to continuously build them like that. And a bit of Tech 1 Air to clean them up can be insanely efficient.
Meanwhile, Tagada, he's going to try to get some sort of position established on the left side of this, but SB now knows about it due to a very lucky engineer that's actually just reclaiming. Well, one of the engines that dropped, he's going to let the other live. Act of mercy.
Oh, it's true, yeah.
But the reaction means that this will be shut down.
Yeah, but they are maxes that should already be belonging to Pepsi anyway. So, and Tagada managed to make a pretty deal on the other 3 max location, and he will buy some time. And it's just annoying, and Pepsi can't really afford to shift his attention to deal with that because he kinda wants to either crush mid or get control of the right side, but neither of them are working at the moment. There's a big tank fight a little bit left of mid. Seems kind of equal, actually slight advantage for Pepsi with the efficiency, but you shouldn't push him further because he has no reinforcements close.
Reinforcements, no intel, and the problem is Tagada just gets to have the middle of the map. There's actually quite a few mexes here, and just a favorable position to have your production be.
Yeah, he has a lot of maxes, and Pepsi's army next to his SU, he's being very passive there. I guess he's afraid of a snipe, but I feel like he should at least try to push a little bit. There's always the water to hide in. Like if he pushes southwest with his SU to those 3 maxes next to the water, he can quite easily deny those.
And we're seeing Tagada redrop these expansions that he's losing. Bombers are coming out and just being very cost effective.
Now gunships being spammed from Tagada to the right side, because he has air control and that air will be able to win him the right side. Pepsi is finally moving out with his army and his SU, but maybe it's a bit too late. He's been waiting for a long time.
SB is finally catching up in the inti count. Tagada still has a slight edge.
There's about to be another air fight.
Oh, well, SB might be able to take a good fight. Although he has a lot of his intis at home.
Yeah, he realized in time, so he retreated in time. The thing is, the gunships from Tagada are on the right side, and they are being uncontested at the moment.
I don't know, if SB groups up his air and gets a good turn with intel and all that, he can probably win air here.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think Tagada can overstay his welcome, since he's also... Yeah, Pepsi turns, and there were a few leading intis, they all get massacred, and with that, Pepsi should have more. So now the chase is reversed. But
Yeah.
Pepsi also can chase Tagada. By the time they arrive on Tagada's side of the map, Tagada has more air again.
Yeah, Tagada realizes this, he just doesn't want to engage here. He's got more intis back at home, and he's spamming out so many. Like, can be measured in intis per second.
Yeah, that's a lot of intis.
It's just this river of intis being spammed. And now Tagada will see if he wants to chase SB away. Although SB can sort of retreat and kill these gunships while he's at it. So Tagada will pull them back.
Oh, he needs to be careful though, because the intis from Tagada are super close. I think Tagada will be able to force an air fight here. The gunships are just a bit too far away.
Just
Yes.
too far away. Alright, here it comes.
Pepsi does see it with the Phobo, so he will be able to have a decent turn.
Yeah, he gets
But
the turn.
number-wise, it's an advantage for Tagada. Yeah, and it seems like Tagada will win it as well.
Tagada just has so many, but SB is getting the better turns.
He is getting the better turns, but Tagada has so many reinforcements. Pepsi does not.
Alright, now he's getting a great turn. Where are these intis even going?
Yeah, but there's not enough intis left.
They're just... Tagada just has too many. Although if you look at the bottom corner, SB is getting a secret naval factory.
Yes, he's making a frigate. I'm not sure about the use of that one, but I guess it's something.
You can always get yourself a frigate.
Yes. Can deny a few maxes even.
Yeah. I mean, I would prefer if he just hid that and built cruisers.
Cruises. I think by that time there is no game anymore. He can't afford to spend the messing with the cruisers.
Yeah, he kind of needs it to be spent on other stuff. There's 2 Nathas going along the left side of the map, but I believe Tagada has scouted them with the radar. And Corsairs from Tagada as well. Just going directly after the units on the left side.
Tagada actually stopped locking the 2 Notas. He had them locked, but he couldn't catch them. So they will actually, if Pepsi is intel, then maybe he can kill the 2 P-gens.
Well, he's scouted the base. He knows where these P-gens are, and Tagada doesn't actually have great intel on the approach. He has like one air scout that's randomly parked on the left side of the island.
There's a single Tekwa max that will see it coming. But he has a shield plant, but it's too late. All the engineers are on top of where the shield is gonna be, so there's no way it's gonna be finished in time. So he will lose at least one pigeon. And oh wait, somehow he managed to build that shield in the middle of all his engineers.
All right, he does get the reclaim.
That's the most. Look at the engineers inside the shield. That's the most lucky shield placement I've ever seen.
Just because it's technically not in the engies. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it seems like Pepsi wasn't going for the second pigeon anyway, or he didn't have it locked.
Well, he didn't know about it when he scouted.
Yeah. Wait, did Tagada just... Oh, Tagada just transported his ACU here, and Pepsi tried to tickle the transport a bit. But yeah, static flag being made by Tagada, he's playing it super safe.
This is a position to play it safe. You're completely crushing left side. You have the right, you have the middle, you have air. What is SB thinking about? SB is thinking, I'm going to build a bunch of Nathas and hide them in the top left.
Yes, he is going to go.
Three. Oh, you know.
Sure. Oh, you gave him.
Whoa. Let me just make a build order. I mean, Tagada's not very vulnerable here. He's got T2 flak. He has an upgrading shield. He has decent intel of all of the approaches that these Nathas could take.
Yeah, and there needs to be 10 Nathas to... Actually, there needs to be 11, because by the time the 10th Natha hits, he already regens enough each. Actually, what am I talking about? Nathas don't do 1k damage, they do 1250 damage. So he needs 9 Nathas to one-shot an ACU.
Well, he's got 6.
Yeah, and there's a shield that's still upgrading. He's making another shield. There's a static flag, so he won't get many passes off. And this is all assuming, nice trinket indeed, this is all assuming that Tagada doesn't see it coming, doesn't kill it, and doesn't touch with his ACU, which is all very unlikely. Although Tagada is stalling power hard.
Yeah, maybe if all the raiders are down and all the shields perfectly stall on the approach, they'll have enough Nathas to one-shot
Tagada's ACU. That's a correct observation by Zlo. Pepsi is indeed ahead on Navy.
This is factually correct. 1 frigate to 0 frigate. The frigate, it did nice work. It killed the 3 mechs. And that's it. But now at this point, SB is just going to try for this all-in with the Nathas. There are literally Mantis in the main base. But emergency PD will go up. Did these get dropped? And now here come the Corsairs. And the power is deleted. And there's actually not enough AA here to discourage the Corsairs from just getting all the passes they need.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that can kill them. They will just kill the base. Pepsi is gonna send his Nathas in, but Tagada surely is expecting something like this.
SB wants to make this a best of 9. You know what? I'm not quite sure that will make the difference. There aren't even enough maps to make it a best of 9.
Wait, how many vetoes did they have?
Wait. There's 6 vetoes total out of 15 maps. So actually, no, there are exactly enough maps.
Yeah, I was about to say, exactly enough.
You have to play every map if you go to the last game.
Yeah, that's not even a best of 9. That's a. No, I guess somehow it can be seen as a best of 9, but it's a bit different than normal best of 9s. Since it can end in 7-2.
Yes. Alright, here come the Nathas. There are exactly 9 of them. Tagada is not quite power stalling, and he sees this coming. And he's got all the NTs in position.
No. Maybe
trying.
he can drop his shield.
There's so many though, and Tagada is just very well positioned. He even built TMD in case of like proxy TML snipe.
It's true, yeah. He was quite safe, let's say.
I was waiting for the tele-defense against the SCUs.
I like the classic Pepsi distracting opponents with chat while sending the snipe in.
Tagada is not so easily distracted. Alright, now Tagada has to decide if he will actually kill SB. As the Corsairs have killed everything else. I'm tempted to kick SB from this game.
Yeah, he is just delaying it at this point.
SB going ahead and
like until
suffering.
the snipe is there, he is still allowed. Like he can still theoretically somehow win, but at this point, the heat death of the universe will come sooner.
I mean, at this point, you're hoping for your opponent to disconnect, and for the tournament director not to take pity on them for doing so.
Is Frigate still alive?
Ah, yes, he's still winning Navy. I forgot. Now he's not.
No, he's not.
I'm still ahead. Well, he's got the T2 Naval Factory almost done.
That was going tech to Navy. Wow.
He's got it. And he's building the cruiser. It will take him a very, very long time. He has exactly 1 mass income and 20 power income from the ACU.
Building a cruiser.
Yeah, cruisers take a bit of power and a bit of mass, so he's actually stalling his 1 mechs. But it doesn't matter. He can't spend the mass from his ACU anyway.
The one next just got crushed.
Alright, he sees the torque bombers and walks onto land just to delay it longer. But the Corsairs are here. And they know what to do.
Miss, yeah.
Dance. Well, look at the scouts. He's just got total map vision at this point. He's like, alright, I found you.
Well, I mean, if he's underwater, I don't think... Oh, actually, no, there's not a Cybran Stealth ACU, I guess. I guess that's good for all of us.
Now SB will build the wall heart. But unlike Tagada, he doesn't have a template. So he has to do it the hard way.
Does not have one either.
Oh dang, did he draw that out by hand? Last game?
Probably.
Wow.
Oh no, maybe
yeah, that's a template right there.
That's an earthly template.
They decided that peace is the answer. They put aside their differences.
Don't worry, soon the cruiser... Oh, it's past, never mind. Couldn't afford the walls otherwise.
He can't afford the walls if he's building the cruiser. And here comes the BM. Insulting his heart.
Tagada says he's a unit capped, so he can't finish the walls. How is he unit capped?
He just has so much. Like, he's got a million scouts everywhere and air
Doesn't
units.
look like he has so much.
Yeah, he's not unit capped. He's only at 749. Well, this was an interesting series, I suppose.
Yeah, it was quite a one-sided finals, but these things happen occasionally. It's honestly like not super uncommon. They just happen sometimes.
Yeah, last time.
It's a bit sad, but yeah, it is what it is. We had good semi-finals and some good rounds of 8s as well with the finals, and bronze match were sadly a bit one-sided today. But yeah, congratulations to Tagada for winning 4-0. So winning this the second invitational in a row, and I don't know if he won one other than the summer one. Or was that?
Did he win spring? Like, he's won a bunch of them.
Yeah. So Tagada's doing very well actually. Yeah. 2 in a row is nothing to laugh at. And pretty convincingly as well.
He came in second in spring.
Second, okay.
I'm inviting Tagada
Okay.
on for an interview. Hey, Tagada. Congratulations.
Hello,
Thank you.
hello.
Hello.
So, pretty convincing games.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I expected after yesterday Pepsi to play a bit better, but I think he got a bit demoralized after the first games, maybe. He didn't, even before the games, he was very happy that he got to the final, but he didn't seem very confident.
Yeah,
But
and SB is known for perhaps being tilted on occasion.
yeah,
If he
although he played really well in the Ajax games, like he just straight up beat Ajax without any funny stuff. Just played really well, and better than Ajax. So I was quite impressed with that.
I don't know, was there any point in your series where you felt you might be in trouble?
Versus Pepsi.
Yes.
I mean, the last game, to be honest, I got a nice drop off, but I mismanaged my eco, and first, as I was dropping, I was stalling like minus 200 power, and then at some point I just ran out of reclaim completely in the mid game and was stalling minus 100 mass, but I knew that I had more map control than Pepsi, so even though I was stalling quite badly, it couldn't have been that bad, although I was a bit worried. So the last game was for sure the closest one, I would say.
Yeah, I think SB wasn't terribly happy with the map gen that was rolled.
I mean, I suspect that Pepsi choosing 20 by 20 map gens, he just wants a map that can easily snowball with transports, and this was kind of the map. Although I think it had a bit too much eco and too much scaling for him, because usually his scaling is not the best. But there are definitely some 20 by 20 maps where I would maybe even favor Pepsi. Maybe not favor, but I would give him very good chances at winning, just because of the map layout and how um, cancerous attacks like Phobos everywhere, bombers, and then you get unlucky with a drop early game and you're insanely behind from minute 3. And Pepsi is really good at finding those openings really, and also he's quite good on drop maps. His air control and his decision making for the transport scouts bombers is probably better than mine, I would say.
Yeah, he does have that sort of edge.
And also the mental edge of where, like when I play versus Pepsi, I always know that in a straight up game where we are kind of even and nothing really happens, I will usually win. Not always, because like 2 years ago when Pepsi was usually just spamming Mantis and Corsairs, I knew that as long as I survived the Shift G with Mantis, I would win the game. But now it's like I actually need to be at least even on if I fall behind because I'm playing overly safe, then Pepsi definitely can now scale properly, eco, and then finish the game later on, like we saw with in the games versus Ajax. But definitely you could even see that in how I played compared to Nexus yesterday, where versus Nexus I tried to be more aggressive, and versus Pepsi I was way more passive because I knew I could afford to be like 10% less efficient but more safe.
So, going back to the semifinals, your series with Nexus was pretty close.
Yeah, that was a very stressful one. I would compare it to uh, last year's Summer Invitational, when that was my first big tourney. And I managed to win in semifinals versus Nexus. And I was really happy. Like after I won both yesterday and last year, I basically shouted in overall with nice emotions, but And then the final last year and this year was quite easy. But yeah, the semifinal was really hard for me. Like the first two games where I got a bit lucky. I think Nexus was still rusty, so he just made silly mistakes, and only that allowed me to win. Then the third game was Twin Rivers. I think it was pretty close. Like, without, even if I wouldn't die there, I think the game was pretty much even because Nexus did more damage to me because he raided my 4max expansion and dropped the back expansion as we were fighting. But I had way better transition since I had a lot of support factory already to T2, while Nexus had only his HQ and built 5 new land factories as we were fighting. So even though he would have more mass income, his units would be just less efficient. So I think it could have been a very nice game, but I just assumed I was more behind than I was and played too risky with the ACU, stepped forward, and Nexus just saw the opportunity and killed me there. And the fourth game was a ditch. That was really an interesting one. I felt like I was doing okay with the pressure I was putting on with the slow bombers and everything, and then I just didn't invest enough into T2 land and navy, and because of that, when I got air control with my nicer grid, I couldn't really use it too much because I was afraid of the navy, so I spammed torps and it didn't work. So it just kind of snowballed from there. But definitely plenty of mistakes from me there. And the final one, I actually had flashbacks of my game versus Patrick from summer final last year, where we played on Darosa, and I dropped the corner, the same corner as him. I lost one corner and then dropped the other and lost the other one as well. And like the game ended at minute 6, and I already saw that in the Nexus game as well. I was so tilted at that point. And then I guess just Nexus misclicking his HQ, canceling it, and then making 2 at once kinda allowed me back into the game. And I think the ACU move was pretty decent. Like, as soon as I saw that I was using the proxy, I moved my ACU over, and that really allowed me to clear that expansion. So yeah, that's pretty the semi-final. Yeah, go ahead.
Going back to the ditch game, if I recall correctly, you built like maybe 70% of a nuke.
Yeah, so basically I knew I would lose the game. Like, I knew there was basically no way for me to win normally without air control and without navy control. And I knew I was already behind on eco a bit. I knew I had more reclaim because of the map control, but Nexus just always has way better eco. That's just a given. So I started making a nuke, as a comeback, and then when it was like 15%, two Wagners came, and I thought they seen it.
They did.
I assumed they seen. Yeah, it's like they saw it, but only on the edge, and obviously you don't zoom in on random stuff where your Wagners are raiding. And I just assumed that, Nexus probably knew about it, or, just to play safe, he would probably make an SND. Like, I knew in his position I would make an SND. And I started stalling, I think, or something, and didn't have enough mass for, like, defending my expansions or whatever. I'm like, okay, this is a terrible idea. I'm gonna reclaim that. And in hindsight, definitely should have finished the nuke.
Yeah, Nexus just didn't build SMD.
I mean, when the nuke would have finished, then he would see it, and there would be probably like 50% chance he would react to it in time. So definitely a very good, let's say, win condition for me, given how behind I was. And even if he would make SMD in his main base, I could nuke his the north expansion, and the other one I later managed to nearly clear out with the autumns as the Soul Reaper came into my base. But yeah,
I would definitely say that nukes on the ditch are always a very strong move. You can always nuke a valuable target.
I think the biggest issue for me on ditch is, like, I spam a lot of T1 stuff, but I'm always too late with my T2 HQ. The biggest problem that game was I made a lot of T2 hover in the top left corner. If I would have made all of those factories at the 2 maxes above the natural expansion north of my, you know where I'm talking about, right? Like, there's this 4-max expansion, there's this big mountain, and there are 2 maxes next to the water. If I would have made, like, these 10 factories there, and I would have spammed T2 and made faster T2 and T3, I could have put more pressure, because Same on the south side. I put pressure on with the bombers and clear some engines, slow down next expansion, but I never followed it up with like Notas, with Yenzin, hover spam, and with hover flag and Phobos. Like just what you were talking about, farms. Just a bit more cancer, a bit less eco. Or even same amount of eco, I could have definitely afforded some T2 spam there. And also Notas. Like, I'm just not
Yeah.
aggressive enough with air. I usually get air control and then like if I win it, then I make like last time when I played Nexus, I just made a couple different gunships and basically raided everything. But I should, even if I'm even, I should just make a couple notas and then posture with air, force him to attack me. Because I know you were wondering about the air fight in the middle. So basically, I knew we were kind of even. Like I couldn't count ASF obviously, and then I knew the person that would try to engage without their intis would lose the fight. So we both like moved the inch by inch because you need to your ASF fly forward and your inti clouds follow slowly, so you cannot move a long distance. You need to like leapfrog forward and try to engage like that. And it was really funny because it's a very interesting dynamic. Because if the other person turns away and tries to run away, then your ASF can just fly in behind the enemy inti cloud and just shave it off. So that's what both me and Nexus were trying to do there in the middle, and it didn't quite work out.
Yeah, but that game, you really had a lot of early air production, more than Nexus had, and I really feel like you should have tried to do more with it. And also, like I said, and like you already repeated, the notas are so strong in situations like
exactly.
that. Like you don't even need to kill Nexus, you just need to kill storages, and it's already good.
Yeah, like before the tourney, I've done a bit of tier crafting, just thinking about how a game on this should go, and I have this like perfect version of the game, but then I always, like I will always go to free air, but I always know that I should make more NGs and just have a T2 factory that would spam some notas, gunships, and stuff like that. But because the game is so chaotic and you need to react to so much going on, it's very hard to do everything properly, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why Ditch is such a high skill map. It's very
Yeah.
hard to do everything. There's so
Yeah.
much stuff going on.
And somehow you have Blackheart who comes back after not playing for a year and then still plays well better than you. Depressing.
I think he played better than you in this tourney.
I mean, yeah, this tourney maybe he wasn't at his peak performance after installing 5 minutes before the tournament, probably. But if he unrusts for like 10 games or whatever, and then he's already basically contender for the best player.
But yeah, overall solid performance by you. So congrats.
Thank you
on
very
the win.
much.
I hope the laptop will be bought and used properly.
Yeah, I need a laptop for uni.
I hope it will be better than my laptop.
I'm hoping for that as well. Maybe lots would boost it as well. We will see.
Want to buy mine for $300?
I will think about it.
It's very good. It's
Yeah, I'm sure.
it's like it simulates this haunted house feeling.
Can you kill someone if you hit somebody in the head with it? Is it heavy enough?
I haven't. I don't remember. I haven't touched it in a long time.
All right.
Yeah, it's haunted. Why would you want to touch it?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think it got haunted? Being used as a blunt object, of course.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sokol, for hosting the tourney and casting.
Well,
Same for you, Farms.
Oh, no problem.
thank you.
And
Alright.
thank you, everyone, for watching as well. I hope you enjoyed.
He's stealing our jobs from.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the outro. Get out of here.
Okay, I will go now.
Yeah, I got a list. All the people.
All right. Yeah.
A mental list.
Have fun. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. See ya. All right, Farms. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we wrap it up for this year?
I'm hungry.
Me too. Me too.
That's how you get out of me.
Excellent. So yeah, I'd like to thank all the players for showing up, all the viewers Farms for co-casting with me, along with... It's been so long. I think Arch also co-casted with me for the qualifier. All the donators, Morax, UD, Arch. I totally remember all you guys.
Lord Voldemort, and you, of course.
Yes.
Wolfsaw,
Yes.
with his 5% 4 cents.
Wolfsaw. Yep.
And then it also says donated by FAFLive.
Yes. To all the people who have subbed on this channel, you've gone to support future tournaments. Thank you for that. And of course, thanks to all my TDs, Hint Hunter, Filthy Casual, Morax. I think that's all of you. I should really write this down beforehand.
I opened the tourney, like the forum page with the donors, but aside from that, I
yes.
don't know.
And Angel of Death.
Ah.
Can't forget him.
And of course, big thanks to Sokol for organizing everything.
Yep. Also thanks to our panel of FTX, Jip, and Tagada and Arch for entertaining people yesterday. That was pretty nice. We'll probably do that again in the future. But yeah, I think that's everything. Next big tournament is Mini Lots next week.
Is it already next week? Damn.
Yeah, it's the 6th, assuming it's happening. Which I think it is. But yeah, we will see you then.